Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you updates on several stories. We're doing one of our news roundup streams where we talk about a bunch of stories. I am still in Madrid, so I apologize for any issues with the video or audio. Doing the best we can. But President Trump is supposed to make some sort of announcement. I don't know what it's going to be in 37 minutes. These can be more or less important as depending on the announcement. So one time he did it and it was about the World Cup. So I just don't know. So we'll watch that when that happens, whatever it's about. Also, there are a number of reports saying that John Bolton, the former Trump national security advisor and someone who has become someone who President Trump is not a fan of John Bolton these days. He wrote, for example, a book where he was critical of Trump after being national security advisor. Somebody who Trump does not like, he may be indicted today. There are reports saying that there's a grand jury meeting and that the Justice Department is asking the grand jury to indict John Bolton. I actually have a live shot of the courthouse. Hey, look, it's Greenbelt, Maryland. It's the federal courthouse in Greenbelt, Maryland via Reuters. There it is. So supposedly in there at some point today, maybe even right now, the Trump Justice Department is asking a grand jury to indict John Bolton. So we are going to bring you updates on that. We'll see what happens. President Trump also talked to Vladimir Putin today and posted about that. He says he's going to meet Putin in Hungary. We'll have to talk about that, and we'll see what else comes up. The supposed possible indictment centers around handling of classified information, supposedly. We'll talk more about that. So we're going to keep an eye on that too. Hold on a second here. I want to thank our moderators for being here. Thank you to our moderators. We have Ruth Krafasi moderating, thank you. Janet B is moderating, thank you. They're over on YouTube. Hold on a second here. And all of our other YouTube moderators, thank you. No, the announcement wouldn't be about Putin because the announcement was already scheduled before. The announcement was already scheduled before President Trump talked to Putin today. So it must be about something else. Also, he already talked about the Putin stuff on his X account, on his True Social account. I'll show you that in a moment. Hey, thanks also to our Twitch moderators. Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, and Matthew Kohai 3 moderating over there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda Bell, Larry, and Misha for moderating on X. And thanks so much to our Facebook moderators as well. The Watchman says the announcement could be on Venezuela. I do not know. Maybe it'll be another announcement about the World Cup. I don't know. Shannon Davis Hughes, thanks for moderating. I really appreciate it. Kay Lowry Body. Thanks again to all of our moderators. All right, so I'm going to keep my eye on the John Bolton story while we're talking about everything else, because something could come out about that at any time. Really quick, let me just mention the John Bolton thing and give you some background here, because that's something we're keeping an eye on. So, as you can see right here, Justice Department to seek indictment of ex-National Security Advisor Bolton, person familiar says. Hey, thanks, by the way, to Tony Jones from the UK. Thank you, Tony. And also Dances with Wolves for being a member. Thank you. So Reuters reports the Justice Department is expected to ask a grand jury today, maybe they're even asking them right now, to indict President Trump's former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton, a person familiar with the matter said. The possible indictment comes after court documents made public last month revealed that Bolton was under federal investigation for potential mishandling of classified information. The details of the charges that prosecutors would seek were not immediately clear. If the grand jury decides to indict Bolton, it would mark the third time in recent weeks that the Justice Department has secured criminal charges against one of Trump's critics. Bolton's lawyer, Abby Lowell, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. He has previously denied that Bolton engaged in wrongdoing. And again, the courthouse where this is happening, supposedly, is right there in Greenbelt, Maryland. Physics says, I wonder who is next. A little more background here from the Reuters article. Trump, who campaigned for the presidency on a vow of retribution after facing a slew of legal woes once his first term in the White House ended, has dispensed with decades-long norms designed to insulate federal law enforcement from political pressures, says Reuters. In recent months, he actively pushed Attorney General Pam Bondi's Justice Department to bring charges against his perceived adversaries, even driving out a prosecutor he deemed to be moving too slowly in doing so. Bolton served as U.S. ambassador to the UN as well as White House National Security Advisor during Trump's first term, before emerging as one of Trump's most vocal critics. He described Trump as unfit to be president in a memoir he released last year. The possible charges against Bolton come shortly after the Justice Department indicted former FBI Director James Comey, who investigated Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, and indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James, who previously had brought a civil fraud case against Trump and his family real estate company. Comey has pleaded not guilty to charges of making false statements to Congress and obstruction of Congress. James is facing charges of bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. She has denied wrongdoing and is stated to appear in federal court later this month. We actually covered earlier this year, FBI searched Bolton's home. I remember we were covering that. FBI agents conducted searches of Bolton's home and office in August, seeking evidence of possible violations of the Espionage Act, which makes it a crime to remove, retain, or transmit national defense records according to partially unsealed warrants. The agents found documents labeled confidential in Bolton's office that reference weapons of mass destruction, unsealed court records show. In his home, agents seized 2 cell phones, documents in folders labeled Trump 1 to 4, and a binder labeled Statements and Reflections to Allied Strikes, according to court documents. So, possibly while we're on the air, we might hear that a grand jury has voted to indict John Bolton after the Justice Department has asked them to, reportedly today. I'll be keeping an eye out. That could happen at any time. And again, we do have a live shot of the courthouse in Greenbelt, Maryland. T.J. O'Brien says Bolton is not above the law, throw him in prison. Johnny 58 says lock up Trump and his goons. Bama Rolls thinks maybe today Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act. I haven't really heard any reporting about what his announcement is about yet. To repeat, it is a regular thing when the White House says Trump is going to make an announcement and they don't say what it's going to be about. And some of them can be more important than others. As an example of one of lesser importance, I will draw your attention to a few months ago, I think it was, 2-3 months ago, I think, where the announcement was about the World Cup. Patrice thinks it's about IVF treatment. Maybe it's been reported now. I'll have to look it up. He might take questions on other things too, you know. He often does that. That is supposed to be in 27 minutes, although it may start late. Again, I have not yet seen reporting on what the announcement is about. Maybe he'll have multiple announcements. I'll be keeping an eye on it, though. Oh, where is it? Okay, yeah. Once I get video from the White House, I will certainly put that on. We might get video as soon as 11 minutes from now. You never know. Okay, so we'll be keeping an eye on whether John Bolton is indicted. I mean, there could be news that the grand jury has voted to not indict him. But I will let you know about any updates on that. It could so happen that Trump is making his announcement at the same time the news comes out about John Bolton. Hey, thanks to CJ Lars for your support. Thanks also Don Quixote U. Thanks for being a member. All right, so let's now talk about the announcements coming up. I have the clock on the screen for you. Oh, let's talk about the Putin thing. Trump spoke with Putin today, reportedly for over 2 hours. Here is what Trump said on Truth Social about his discussion with Putin. Oops. There it is. Here's what Trump said. He said, I have just concluded my telephone conversation with President Putin of Russia, and it was a very productive one. President Putin congratulated me and the United States on the great accomplishment of peace in the Middle East, something that he said has been dreamed of for centuries. I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help our negotiation in attaining an end to the war with Russia and Ukraine. President Putin thanked the First Lady Melania for her involvement with children. He was very appreciative and said that this will continue. We also spent a great deal of time talking about trade between Russia and the United States when the war with Ukraine is over. At the conclusion of the call, we agreed that there will be a meeting of our high-level advisors next week. The United States' initial meetings will be led by Secretary of State Rubio, together with various other people to be designated. A meeting location is to be determined. President Putin and I, says Trump, will then meet in an agreed upon location, Budapest, Hungary, to see if we can bring this inglorious war between Russia and Ukraine to an end. Sounds like another summit. President Zelensky and I will be meeting tomorrow in the Oval Office, says Trump, where we will discuss my conversation with President Putin and much more. I believe great progress was made with today's telephone conversation. So at some point, time TBD, President Trump will be meeting with Putin in Hungary, in Budapest. I have seen some analysis that says, well, Trump had been talking about the possibility of maybe giving Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles. Some analysis I've seen has said, well, after this post, it doesn't seem like he would give the Tomahawks to Ukraine before he actually ends up meeting with Putin. I don't know, but let me take some comments from you guys. Sabali says perhaps final agreement in Budapest to be announced. Well, at this point, Zelensky, there's nothing. He doesn't say that Zelensky is going to be in Budapest. We'll have to see what happens. Linda Langley says, whatever it takes, he's on top of it. Thank you, President Trump. Our viewer, Illuminated Mind, says, Putin is playing him again after hearing Trump was giving Tomahawks to Ukraine. Putin isn't stopping. Now, something else that Trump posted today, he posted about Hamas. Let me show you that, in case you haven't seen it. President Trump said, if Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, Trump has previously, the Trump administration has said there aren't going to be U.S. troops in Gaza. Maybe he means the U.S. would help Israel go in and kill them. As I've said before, I don't know that Israel has been holding back on trying to kill members of Hamas for the last 2+ years. But anyways, we'll have to see if something happens. I mean, if nothing else, it suggests that the ceasefire deal could be threatened. Maybe he'll comment more on these posts about Hamas and Putin when he makes his announcement. He may take questions, whatever it is he's announcing. Football coach thinks Trump's and Putin's meeting will be a waste of time. We don't know when exactly that's going to be yet. One of our viewers mentioned that the Israeli Defense Forces posted that they had conducted strikes in Lebanon. I mean, this is a fairly regular occurrence. The IDF says IDF strikes teller infrastructure of the terrorist organization Hezbollah and the Green Without Borders organization in southern Lebanon. A short while ago, Air Force jets led by the Northern Command struck terror infrastructure of the terrorist organization Hezbollah that was used for attempts to rehabilitate the organization in southern Lebanon. They talk about targets they struck. Again, periodically in recent months, Israel has launched strikes in Lebanon. The IDF says the IDF will continue to operate in order to remove any threat to the state of Israel. Do we have any? Maybe soon. Maybe White House videos soon. You know what? I got to get ready. Let me put up here. I got to pull up the video. Well, the pre-video. Got to get organized here to get ready to show you the video. Now, that's there. And let me just make sure I have this set up right. I think we're good. Yes. Okay. So, as soon as I get video from the White House, hopefully we'll get it early, but you don't know, we don't know, I will put it on the screen for you. I do not know what President Trump is going to be talking about today. At least in the announcement part. Hey, thank you so much. I am Charlie. That's really nice of you. Thank you, Ed Weeby, for the membership. Thanks, Randy RDS, for being a member. Thanks, Patricia Grace, and thanks for shouting out the mods. Thanks, oh, for Foxy's sakes, for subscribing over there on Twitch. One of our viewers said stocks were falling. I'll have to check out. Crypto was down a bit today. Bitcoin is down 2.5% in the last 24 hours, roughly. Dow is down about 0.5%. NASDAQ and S&P 500 are down a bit more than 0.5%. Russell is down over 2%. Russell 2000. NG First Fan thinks Trump's going to endorse Cuomo. Thank you, NG First Fan. I don't see anything new about John Bolton yet. Let's talk a little bit more about that while we're waiting for something about that. Give me one moment. So soon, President Trump announcement of some sort. Possibly a John Bolton indictment. So I'm just pulling something up here. Reuters reporting, and others, other outlets have reported this too, that that the Justice Department is asking a grand jury today to indict President Trump's former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton. The possible indictment comes after court documents made public last month revealed that Bolton was under federal investigation for potential mishandling of classified information. If the grand jury decides to indict Bolton, it would mark the third time in recent weeks that the Justice Department has secured criminal charges against one of Trump's critics. A couple of our viewers think the Trump announcement will be about IVF matters. Oh, I think you're right, because I'm seeing this right now. Trump is going to announce, the New York Times reports that Trump is going to announce a policy proposal to make in vitro fertilization more accessible. Now, he very well may take questions about other things that have come up today. Oh, I think I have it right here. Hold on a second. Here. Hey, look, I have an update. Here you go. White House set to announce proposal seeking to make IVF more accessible. New York Times reports. Oh, hold on. I got the video. I got the video from the White House. Wait a second. Hold on. I got the video. Look, it's video from the White House. It's coming up right now. I got to turn the volume on. Oh, my gosh. Oh, no. Where's the volume? I think it might be muted at the moment, because I'm not hearing anything. No volume yet. Now, let me try something here. Looks like they're just preparing. Yeah, the White House isn't even live on their own feed. Oops, hold on. That I don't want. All right, so this is the White House. Hold on. Hang on. Look at this. It's the Oval Office. Again, I don't think there's actually sound on this video yet. But you get to see some of the sound check and whatever. Oops, I'm hearing some sound. Oh, no. Ah! I guess we're getting some sound.
Audio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh, look
9,
at this.
10. Cool. I got thumbs up on one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Audio test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the audio test. Audio test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Audio testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Audio testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Testing 1. Testing 1. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Testing 1, 2, 3. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2. We're good? Okay, we got left side is good. Left side is good. Back to all my mains. Make sure y'all are good. Make sure y'all steady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Audio testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just give me a thumbs up whenever you guys are good. Okay, I got 1. Are you okay? Good. 2, 3. How you feeling? You feeling okay? Still need tech? 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up. All right, guys. Last minute if you need to focus. Cool.
Okay, so that's the White House. That's the Oval Office. The New York Times says that, Reuters says that President Trump is expected to make a policy proposal, announce a policy proposal to make in vitro fertilization more accessible, according to the New York Times. In vitro fertilization is a medical procedure, by the way, where eggs are fertilized by sperm in a laboratory, and the resulting embryos are then transferred to the uterus. Oh, we temporarily lost the. I'll go back when we get the video back. Hold on, give it a moment. Give it a moment. Stand by, it says. So Reuters says that the White House will issue guidance on what it is calling an employer benefit option to encourage employers to offer in vitro fertilization and broader infertility coverage directly to workers, said the New York Times. IVF involves combining eggs and sperm in a laboratory dish to create an embryo for couples having difficulty conceiving, says Reuters. Costs for IVF can range from $12,000 to $25,000 per cycle, and multiple cycles may be needed to get pregnant. By offering infertility coverage separately from the major medical insurance package, the White House expected more small businesses to be able to provide the benefit, the report said, citing the official. The White House will not be providing any subsidies for employers that offer the coverage, and there will be no mandate that they participate, the New York Times said. Well, more details coming up. One of our viewers said something like, don't some Christians have an issue with IVF? The New York Times said some Christian conservatives have moral and ethical concerns about IVF, which often involves discarding human embryos. So we're waiting for the announcement. I don't know if it's going to start in 4 minutes, but we just heard the sound check from the White House. Hey, thanks to Sammy G. Appreciate you your support and for spreading the word about the channel. Thanks so much, Sammy G. Thanks also our member Shane. Thanks Yukonpar Duiti. Yukonpar Duiti, thanks for being a member. Thank you, Tech Wizard. Oh, did Trump post again? Hold on a second. Thanks, NG First Fan. We were just showing his Truth Social posts. Trump posted something about the International Maritime Organization. He said 14 minutes ago, I am outraged that the International Maritime Organization is voting in London this week to pass a global carbon tax. The U.S. will not stand for this global green new scam tax on shipping and will not adhere to it in any way, shape, or form. We will not tolerate increased prices on American consumers or the creation of a green new scam bureaucracy to spend your money on their green dreams. Stand with the United States and vote no in London tomorrow. Now, Axios says Trump today will announce... Oh, another Axios says another announcement Trump will make today is a new pricing deal with the manufacturer of a fertility drug. Axios points out that IVF is often not fully covered by insurance. Also, Axios, like the New York Times, points out that, similar to the New York Times, points out that some anti-abortion forces do not support IVF because the practice discards surplus embryos. All right, so we're waiting to get the footage back from the White House. I think they're going to cut back to it when actually the announcement's going to happen. We did get to see the sound check, so we know the sound is working there. Oh, I need to. Well, in a minute and a half, I'm going to get rid of my clock because. Ooh, you know what I might have? It's possible I will have video of Venezuela's UN ambassador speaking. I'm guessing he might talk about the Trump administration's policy towards Venezuela. So I got to keep an eye on that as well. There's a bunch going on. I haven't heard any updates about John Bolton in the last few minutes. All right, so I'm keeping an eye out. For this announcement. And maybe he'll talk about other things. Thanks again to our moderators who are here. We have Ruth Krafasi is moderating right now. Thanks, Ruth. She is over on YouTube. Thank you so much. Over on Twitch, we have Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev. On Facebook, Kay Lowry Body and Shannon Davis Hughes. Margaret Riley. Thanks to Kristen McConnell Gates for subscribing, and Brian Qualls and Susan Priest Buchner for subscribing. Thank you to all of our subscribers on Facebook. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X, thanks for moderating. Janet B is also moderating. Thanks, Janet. And thank you to Shane, our member. Shane says, can't wait for IVF to bring down grocery prices. All right, so what I need to do is all right, we're waiting for Trump's announcement. We're waiting to see if something happens with John Bolton with being indicted. And I thought there was something else I needed to do. There's some other things I want to talk about. We talked about Trump's call with Putin. Trump said he's going to be meeting with Putin in Hungary. Maybe we can talk about that a little more while we're waiting for the announcement. Here, look. Oh, I got to get rid of the clock. We don't need the clock anymore because the clock is going up. Soon. Trump says he'll meet with Putin in Hungary. He first meets tomorrow with Zelensky at the White House. Maybe we'll cover that tomorrow. President Trump is redoubling his efforts, says AP, to end the war in Ukraine, announcing a second meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin, one day before sitting down with President Zelensky of Ukraine at the White House. Trump's announcement came shortly after finishing a call with Putin on Thursday. A date has not been set, but Trump said the meeting would take place in Budapest, Hungary. Trump said he believed great progress was made with today's conversation. The two leaders previously met in Alaska in August, which did not produce a diplomatic breakthrough, a source of frustration for Trump, who had expected that his long-standing relationship with Putin could pave the way to resolving a conflict that began nearly 4 years ago. Nearly 4 years ago! Putin's foreign affairs advisors said Putin initiated the call, which he described as very frank and trusting. Putin's advisor said that Putin emphasized to Trump that selling long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, something Trump has publicly discussed, would inflict significant damage to the relations between our countries. So Putin told Trump today he should not sell long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Trump was already scheduled to meet on Friday with Zelensky. Did Putin really want to set up this meeting so he could talk to Trump before Zelensky did tomorrow? It's interesting timing. Zelensky has been seeking weapons that would allow Ukrainian forces to strike deeper into Russian territory. Zelensky has argued such strikes would help compel Putin to take Trump's calls for direct negotiations to end the war more seriously. So I wonder if some people might have thought that tomorrow Trump and Zelensky would announce some agreement for the U.S. to sell Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. I don't think that's going to happen now that Trump has said that he is soon going to meet with Putin. Paula Thompson says, well, we know that won't happen now. Patricia Gray says it's complicated. Thank you, Alex Beasy, for your support, by the way. And I am Charlie, thank you. And Snip Snap 42. Thanks, Snip Snap 42. I really appreciate your support. Yes, the announcement has not started yet, guys. It's supposed to be on IVF. Flor Morena thinks it was smart of Putin to talk to Trump first, before tomorrow when he meets with Zelensky. You can see here, Trump weighs Tomahawks for Ukraine, says AP. Friday's meeting with Trump and Zelensky will be their fourth face-to-face encounter this year. After their initial Oval Office conversation devolved into recriminations, I remember that, they forged a more amicable relationship. Trump says he's considering selling long-range Tomahawk missiles to Kyiv, something Putin has said could further damage relations between Moscow and Washington. Although such a sale would be a splashy move, it could take years to provide the equipment and training necessary for Ukraine to use Tomahawks. That's interesting, said Mark Montgomery, an analyst at the Foundation for Defensive Democracies in Washington. Montgomery said Ukraine could be better served in the near term with a surge of extended-range attack munition, or ERAM missiles, and Army Tactical Missile System known as ATACMS. The U.S. already approved the sale of up to 3,350 ERAMs to Kyiv earlier this year. The Tomahawk, with a range of almost 1,000 miles, would allow Ukraine to strike far deeper into Russian territory than either the ERAM, with about 285 miles range, or ATACMS, about 186 miles range. Montgomery said to provide Tomahawks is as much a political decision as it is a military decision. The ERAM is shorter range, but this can help them put pressure on Russia operationally on their logistics, the command and control, and its force disbursement within several hundred kilometers of the front line. It can be very effective. Our viewer R and Edge Vix thinks no amount of weapons is going to win the Ukraine-Russia war. Fred Flintstone says we shouldn't give the Tomahawks. Do we really want to risk being dragged into World War III? Sydney says, I don't think Crimea and Donbass are enough for Putin. He'll demand more. I Rule All thinks smart is being the last to talk to Trump, not the first. Okay. Hey, thanks to Pops1 for being a member. Thank you, Pops1. So we're waiting for Trump to do his announcement from the White House. Oh, the Venezuelan ambassador. Hold on, I have other video for you. The Venezuelan ambassador to the UN is speaking. Hang on a moment. Let me get this on the screen for you. Venezuelan ambassador to the UN is speaking right now. Let me put this up for you. I assume he's speaking in English. Hold on while we're waiting for the other stuff. Hang on, I got to get it on the screen. Wait a second. Wait 1 second. Hold on.
Officials have presented alternative paths for a maneuverless government to rule Venezuela. Are you aware of those reports? Can you confirm or deny that that has happened?
By the way, this is important for you to see. This is the Guardian. The Guardian, a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago, denouncing the killings of 2 humble fishermen yesterday or the day before in Trinidad. I mean, there is a killer roaming around the Caribbean, is bloodthirsty, is killing everyone which is on the sea working, and people from different countries, Colombia, Trinidad, etc., are suffering the effects of these massacres. This is important for you. Yes, I'm answering your question. I am absolutely aware of that report, and it's ridiculous. If you see who wrote it, where it comes from, I mean, the sources is absolutely disreputable. There is nothing of the sort. It's not serious. It doesn't even, I mean, we are wasting time thinking about that. There is nothing of the sort.
What kind of support are you getting, if any, from regional countries here at the UN? And I understand Venezuela is a member of the OAS, but doesn't have an ambassador there. So are you going to correct that situation so you have some support from the OAS?
Yeah, the first correction is that we don't belong to the OAS. I was ambassador at the OAS when we left in 2017. So we don't belong to OAS. The OAS is the Minister of Colonies for the US. We don't have nothing to do with that. We don't want nothing to do with that. We don't want the OAS here. No, we have formally withdrawn. We withdrew in 2017. The problem is that when we were leaving the OAS in 2019, the United States fabricated this device, which is something similar to what they are trying to do now. They created a new government presided by Juan Guaidó, and Juan Guaidó was the legitimate government for the OAS, and Juan Guaidó decided to remain in the OAS. So the OAS, the Venezuela in the OAS is Juan Guaidó. I mean, it's a fiction, it's a non-existent entity, it's ridiculous, we have nothing to do with that, we don't want the OAS immersed in this thing. So the first thing is the OAS. Most important than the OAS is the non-aligned movement. The non-aligned movement held a ministerial conference over the last 3 days in Kampala, Uganda, and the 124 countries of the non-aligned movement signed a special declaration on Venezuela supporting the Venezuelan claim that there is a threat against Venezuela by the United States and also to the whole region, and they are expressing their concern. They are calling to withdraw the forces, aggressive forces from the region, and they are supporting Venezuela's right to territorial integrity and sovereignty. I mean, we count with the support of 124 countries, which are 2/3 of the United Nations, and this declaration was approved yesterday in Kampala, Uganda. So we feel that we have a strong support within the UN and even in the region as well.
You have a message directly to Donald Trump?
No, I have no message to Donald Trump. I have a message to the American people and even the government included, but not special to him, directed to him. Endless wars are bad for everyone. Wars are bad for everyone. Only the industry of death, the machine, a death machine that feeds from blood from poor people in the US and in the whole world, are the only ones who benefit from it. The American people, we know, we see the polls, we see that they don't want war. They are against endless war. Even the president won the elections with the promise of finishing or ending the endless war. We don't want war. This is a fabricated conflict. We are in no conflict. It's something important because they said they are escalating warring parties. There is no escalation on our part. We are living peacefully and in unity in our territory. We are not messing with anyone, but there are forces trying to attack, as they just announced, Venezuelan territory, not just the international waters, but also Venezuelan territory, which will be a new scale, totally different in gravity and in seriousness. Our message is there is time to stop this madness. We want to work with everyone. We don't want war, and we know that American people don't want war, even less against Venezuela, with all the history among our countries.
Mr. Ambassador, following up, which countries in South America and the Caribbean support your statement?
Yeah. Well, all the ALBA countries, which are 9, Bolivia, Cuba, Nicaragua, the Caribbean countries, Eastern Caribbean countries, etc., but Honduras, but also, apart from ALBA, the President of Colombia has been absolutely clear, crystal clear in his rejection of this attack, and even the government of Brazil has also said that they are against any militarization of the region. It's a region of peace, but more than that, I haven't seen one single country in the region which support nuclear submarines in the region. We are a nuclear-free region, and there is no one supporting nuclear military assets in the region. And in that sense, I mean, they are supporting our cause. We are exactly against that. Now, we are not alone. That's something important. This pariah country, which everybody hates, it's not like that. Perhaps Fox News, but as we all know, Fox News is not a news channel, it's an entertainment channel. That's why they say themselves that they are an entertainment channel. Every time they are challenged in court, they say, no, we are not news, we are entertainment. Well, that entertainment channel is one of those who repeat this kind of absurdities.
In your statement regarding the Security Council, I understand you are requesting a statement from the Council emphasizing your sovereignty, but obviously there's one country that will not go along with the statement, so what do you see coming out of this?
No, we are working at the Security Council, and we will remain working at the Security Council, because we want everyone to see through what's going on here. I mean, I respect the American people, I respect the American government, I respect the American diplomacy and diplomats. See, if there is anyone qualified, prepared to understand international law, are the American diplomats. The American diplomats know that this is not lawful at all. They are being forced by these decisions which are against international law. But everybody knows that killing civilians, in international waters without any kind of evidence and argument just because I say so. I declare civilian terrorists and I kill them and I don't care because I don't care about the UN. That's the explanation of the Secretary of State and the Vice President of the United States. All American diplomats know that this is ridiculous. They would enjoy criticizing any other country who would say some madness like that. But precisely because everybody knows, everybody's pretending. It's a game of pretend. Everybody's pretending that they don't understand, that they need more investigation, we need to find out, we need to learn more, we call for peace. Everybody knows what's going on here. There is a killer prowling the Caribbean, bloodthirsty, looking for wars, and there is no justification at all. They are fabricating a war. And everybody should stop pretending that this is a complicated matter and face the truth. The emperor is naked. Nobody dares to say it, but the emperor is naked. They are going for war for no reason.
So yesterday, President Trump met with President Milei of Argentina. To your knowledge, did they talk about Venezuela?
As far as I heard, they mentioned Venezuela in the meeting, but I didn't hear any reaction from the Argentinian side on the Venezuelan issue, so I have nothing to comment on that.
They haven't said anything publicly.
Well, Argentina has its own position regarding the U.S., but on this particular issue, I haven't heard anything of Argentina supporting anything like no. That's why I'm telling you, in the region, there are few people supporting the build-up of military assets in the region. It's against the tradition. It's nothing to do with the last 120 years of Caribbean history. Okay? Thank you very much indeed.
All right, so that was Samuel Moncada, who is the Venezuelan ambassador to the UN, speaking at the UN. You heard him say that he thinks that, he accused the U.S. of destroying these boats and not offering evidence to support their claims about these Venezuelan boats. He says the U.S. wants war and is moving towards war with Venezuela, which Venezuela, he says, does not want. I thought that'd be interesting to watch, given that we've been following the Venezuela story. It was just reported. I mean, President Trump actually confirmed it in his appearance yesterday. He confirmed that he has approved, what was it, CIA operations in Venezuela, right? So look, this was just, here's a story from today. I'm sorry. Let me show you this. Oops. Trump authorizes CIA operations in Venezuela, raising pressure on Maduro. We're waiting for Trump to speak, by the way. He has not started speaking yet, Trump. We're waiting him to make an IVF-related announcement and an announcement involving a fertility drug. You can see today, Reuters said President Trump confirmed yesterday that he authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations in Venezuela, marking a sharp escalation in U.S. efforts to pressure Nicolas Maduro's government. The New York Times first reported the classified directive, citing U.S. officials familiar with the decision, saying the Trump administration's Venezuela strategy aims to remove Maduro from power. The administration has offered $50 million for information leading to Maduro's arrest and conviction on drug trafficking charges. The new authority would allow the CIA to carry out lethal operations in Venezuela and conduct a range of operations in the Caribbean, the Times reported. Asked why he authorized the CIA to operate in Venezuela, Trump said there were two reasons: the migration of Venezuelans to the United States and drug trafficking. Also, this was noteworthy yesterday. Trump said the U.S. has made progress in intercepting drug shipments at sea, and that additional efforts are now focused on overland routes. Trump said yesterday, we are looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. Reuters could not independently determine what specific actions Trump has authorized, and the White House declined to elaborate on Trump's comments. Historically, the CIA's involvement in such operations has varied widely, from direct paramilitary engagement to intelligence gathering and support roles with little to no physical footprint. The CIA has a long history of operations in Latin America, particularly during the Cold War, and helped topple South America's cocaine trafficking empires at the end of the 20th century. Reuters has reported that the CIA has been running covert operations in Mexico for years to track down the country's most wanted drug traffickers. Venezuela's government said Trump's remarks yesterday constituted a violation of international law and said U.S. actions were aimed at legitimizing a regime change operation with the goal of seizing Venezuela's oil resources. Venezuela said in a statement that they would raise this complaint with the Security Council. So, we will keep an eye on whether there is some U.S. further military action beyond blowing up the boats in relation to Venezuela. We'll have to see. We don't know. Ruth Krafasi says, yikes. Blake says, sounds complex. Gina Pina says, not so covert anymore. Barry thinks that overthrowing the government in Venezuela could help create more refugees. Ninja Master says the CIA thinks the CIA is being authorized to remove Maduro. How is this allowed? All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Ooh, you know what? I might have a little video to show you. We're waiting for President Trump to speak. As soon as he starts, we'll go to that. That has not started yet. The White House is not live yet. We watched the sound check, but then the VFP video is not live yet. So we're waiting for that. While we wait for that, by the way, a quick thanks to I Am Charlie. While we wait for that, I want to show you something. Thank you, Borealis Black, for subscribing on Twitch. I have a video about the Venezuela stuff from Reuters. Is this it? No, that's not it. Here it is. I have it. Now I got to fix the sound so it'll come out of both sides. Wait one moment here. One moment. There's a lot going on right now. Oh, I have mono audio on. Okay, now, here is this video from that Reuters article about the situation with Venezuela and the new developments. Here, so let's take a look at this while we're waiting for Trump to speak live. Hold on. Here's the video. I'm playing it for you right now. Hopefully this works.
The Department of Justice.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed on Wednesday that he authorized the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert operations in Venezuela.
I authorized for two reasons, really.
Trump told reporters his reasons were migration of Venezuelans to the U.S. and drug trafficking. Trump has, in recent months, ordered a large U.S. military buildup in the southern Caribbean. Troops have conducted at least 5 strikes on vessels the Trump administration has described as involved in drug trafficking without providing evidence. The CIA authorization marks a sharp escalation in U.S. efforts to pressure President Nicolas Maduro's government. The New York Times first reported the classified directive, citing U.S. officials familiar with the decision. The report said the Trump administration's Venezuela strategy aims to remove Maduro from power. Trump declined to answer when asked if the CIA has the authority to execute Maduro.
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela's feeling heat.
Venezuela's government said Trump's remarks constituted a violation of international law and said U.S. actions were aimed at legitimizing a, quote, regime change operation with the goal of seizing the country's oil resources. Venezuela's foreign minister said his country would raise a complaint with the UN Security Council and Secretary General. Reuters could not independently determine what specific actions Trump has authorized, and the White House declined to elaborate on the president's comments.
The Department of Justice.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed on Wednesday that he
So
authorized
we
the
will
central-
certainly be keeping an eye on the situation between the U.S. and Venezuela. Tenaj thinks that Trump is after the oil in Venezuela, and the same thing happened with Iraq. Bearded Genius says, here we are, oil. Okay, so that's something we're keeping an eye on, obviously. And we're still waiting for Trump to speak. It is 3:28 Eastern time. He was supposed to speak at 3, but I want to mention this as well. Another thing I saw, a couple people I follow, including AZ Intel, mentioned that Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, posted, and look what Viktor Orban said. Viktor Orban said, I just got off the phone with President Trump 15 minutes ago. Preparations for the U.S.-Russia peace summit are underway. Hungary is the island of peace. Now remember, as we've discussed, President Trump, the day before he's supposed to meet with Zelensky at the White House, said he talked to Putin today and said that he is going to meet with Putin for a summit in Hungary to try to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Previously, Trump met with Putin in August in Alaska. Nothing Trump said today suggested that Zelensky will be there when Trump meets with Putin. So again, that's from 15 minutes ago. Maybe Trump's announcement is late because he was talking to Viktor Orban. Yes, as John points out, Hungary is not an island. It's a figurative expression. It's not literally an island. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, it literally begins, Hungary is a landlocked country in Central Europe. Yeah, it is not an island. But he wasn't saying it was literally an island. Maybe it's a bad translation or something. I don't know. But I think he posted in English. Anyways. But Orban is calling it the Peace Summit. Look, Viktor Orban, Hungarian Prime Minister, is calling it the USA-Russia Peace Summit. All right, we're gonna do a poll question while we're waiting for Trump to speak. The poll question is, hold on. Will next Putin Trump summit result in peace? That's going to be the question. I'm sorry, Facebook, the polls are still broken on Facebook. I'll ask on YouTube and Twitch. All right, I just posted it on YouTube, and I'm posting it on Twitch right now. The question is, will the next Putin-Trump summit result in peace? Let's see what you guys have to say as we wait for Trump to speak. Now, I'm going to post, hey, thanks to Abscondage. Abscondage says, why fund IVF while slashing food stamps and Medicaid? So just to be clear, I don't believe that Trump is announcing any sort of funding for IVF today. It's like a policy proposal. Well, we'll get more details on that soon, but I haven't seen reporting that he's announcing funding today. But thank you very much, Abscondage, for your support. Also, thanks to Azure Fire for your support. By the way, let me show you the poll results. Azure Fire is in Hungary, who says, very convenient for Orban as he is trailing the opposition in the polls for next election in 2026. I hope this won't change Orban's luck and we vote him out next year. That's what our viewer Azure Fire said. Thanks, Azure Fire in Hungary, for your support. And Jackie Morgan, our member. All right, here is what you guys said. I asked you, will the next Putin-Trump summit, which Viktor Orban from Hungary is calling the peace summit, will it result in peace? Now, over there on YouTube, the current vote is 74% say no, 26% say yes. How about Twitch? I'll tell you in a second what Twitch said. Oh, hold on a second. Why is that all messed up? Why did that get messed up? I just messed something up. Hold on, I got to put this back. Now I got to put this back. I must have pressed the wrong thing. Right, this goes back here. I see. We have that. Let's put this over here. I got it. Thank you. So I can show you the Twitch vote. It's a little trickier to do things sometimes when I am away and not at home. I'm still in Madrid. Okay, here is, you can see that on YouTube it is 74% say no. Let's go over to Twitch. On Twitch, they think 87% say no on Twitch. 87% on Twitch say the next Putin-Trump summit will not result in peace. 74% say no on YouTube. Thank you for voting in our poll. Now, anything from the White House? Let's see. Oh, the White House went live. Okay, they haven't started yet, but they are. All right, let's get ready to show Trump. Let's get ready to show his announcement, because the White House did go live on their feed. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment. I need a moment. I need a moment. Hang on. I'm going to get this on the screen for you right now. Get rid of this. Where is this? Oh, I see. By the way, there might be some John Bolton news soon. I got to keep an eye on that. One moment. All right, so that's... One second. Okay, did I do this right? Yes. Here it is. You can see right here. We will begin shortly. President Trump makes an announcement. And then if I get video from one of the other sources, I'll put that up on the screen too. Now, I actually have a camera from the courthouse in Maryland where reportedly a grand jury is being asked by the Justice Department to indict John Bolton. So, and there's a microphone set up there. So I'm keeping an eye on that as well. There's a lot going on right now. I think it's possible that Trump will be giving his announcement, and at the same time we'll get some news about John Bolton getting indicted. Let's see here. All right, just trying to keep up with everything. Bad Cat Gaming says it's reported that Mitch McConnell fell. Is that true? Yes. I posted that video, which I don't have the rights to, on my X account. Eric Rosales had posted it. I hope he's okay. He seemed to be okay after he fell. I just posted a link in the chat to the video. TJ Hukas thinks Trump is waiting till market closes. I mean, this didn't sound like an announcement that was going to have a huge impact on the market from what I was hearing about this announcement. Anti-Dot thinks it will be a few minutes. So I was talking about this before. The Wall Street Journal said that Trump's pronouncement today that he's going to meet with Putin soon, at some point, seems to weaken prospects that the U.S. would provide Ukraine with a powerful new weapon system, Tomahawk missiles. Remember, President Trump has been talking recently about possibly giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. Those are long-range missiles. He's going to meet with Putin. He already was scheduled to meet with Zelensky tomorrow at the White House. But today, the day before that meeting, he talked to Putin. And at the end of the meeting, Trump said he was going to meet with Putin in the future in Hungary. Also, Putin's spokesperson said in that meeting, in that phone call today, Putin discouraged the U.S., discouraged Trump from giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. Amakai Stein, with the Jerusalem Post, also reports that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu smoked tonight with President Trump. I guess nighttime Israel time. There's a lot going on. Now, it is currently 3:41 Eastern Time, and the John Bolton, reportedly, a grand jury is being asked by the Trump Justice Department to indict John Bolton today in Maryland. So I wonder if that's got to get done I don't know how late the grand jury would normally sit there for. I don't know how late that news could come out. Give me a moment here. As you can see, we're waiting for Trump to appear, and he very well might answer questions about things like Ukraine, Russia, about the situation with Hamas and Israel. Another story that came out today, which I'll mention while we're waiting for Trump to start. A U.S. District Court judge said today that federal immigration officers in the Chicago area will be required to wear body cameras after seeing tear gas and other aggressive steps used against protesters. The judge, Sarah Ellis, last week said agents in the area must wear badges, and she banned them from using certain riot control techniques against peaceful protesters and journalists. Now, I don't know if the Trump administration can and will appeal that ruling. Lunar Guardian thinks transparency is important. The Washington Post, in their article about the situation with Trump talking to Putin today, said, and again, Trump has talked about giving long-range Tomahawk missiles, selling them to Ukraine. President Zelensky of Ukraine has wanted that. The Kremlin said such a move would be a provocation. The Post says some of Trump's allies see the threat of giving long-range missiles to Ukraine as leverage that could pressure Putin to agree to a peace deal. The Washington Post says some European officials say the missiles, the Tomahawk missiles that Zelensky is requesting from the U.S., are more symbolic than practical, demonstrating U.S. willingness to escalate pain on Russia as a bargaining tactic. Oh, hold on, I got the video. The video is coming on right now. The video is coming on right now. Hang on, you're going to see it in a second. I have it on the other feed, but it's coming on right now. Hold on.
The phone call with President Putin was a very good call.
Now there he is, but we'll go to the White House feed when it happens. We'll leave this up for now.
Are you ready? Yes, sir. You all set? Let's go.
Let me go to the other feed.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting, what we're doing. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank this group of people. They're incredible people. We just had a call, as you know, with President Putin. I thought it was a very good call, so we'll talk about it maybe later. But it went very well. We're here today to announce a historic victory for American women, mothers, and families. With women, mothers, and families, actions I will outline this afternoon will dramatically slash the cost of IVF and the treatment and many of the most common fertility drugs for countless millions of Americans. Prices are going way down, way down. I want to thank Libby Horn, who is the Senior Vice President of Fertility of EMD Serrano. So I want to thank you. Let's see here. That's what I thought. I thought it was you. Thank you, Libby, very much. And let me also thank the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose wife destroyed the people on The View yesterday. I have to say that. I'm not going to ever get into an argument with her. And you've decided, you learned that a long time ago, right? She did a great job, actually. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Rima. Thanks, Lori. Howard, thanks. CMS Administrator, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's a fantastic guy, and he's done really well. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary. Thank you, Marty. Senator Katie Britt, who got me started with this whole thing when she called up to say there was a bad ruling by a judge, right? We got to do something, sir, and we did it very quickly. Probably in 24 hours it was done. Congressman Richard Hudson, a great guy, and his wife Renee. Richard, hi, Richard. And Advocate Samantha Bush, who's a very respected person. For years, American couples struggling with infertility have faced crushing costs in their quest to start a family, and IVF is among the most expensive treatments of all. A single round of IVF in the United States can cost up to $25,000, can actually go a lot higher than that, and many couples require multiple rounds for a successful pregnancy. A major reason for these high prices is the excessive cost of the drugs involved. The number one fertility drug used in IVF is currently 700% more expensive in the United States than the rest of the world. And you know, we're ending all of that. It's called favored nations, and we're ending it, and we're ending it pretty fast. Nobody thought we'd be able to do it, and we've done it. Drugs are going to come down. Drug prices are coming down. 400%, 200%, 600%, numbers that nobody's ever seen before. Great for Medicare, Medicaid, even Social Security. Great for everything, I think, Dr. Oz. So that's something that's, to me, it's very exciting. I'm bugging him and Bobby all the time. How are we doing with that? And we're doing really good, Bobby. Right? It's really going good. Other countries are agreeing to it, because if they don't, we put tariffs on them. And then they agree, so it's amazing. It's amazing how that worked out. But as an example, in London, you'd buy a certain drug for $130, and even less than that, I guess, $88 as of a count a month ago. And in New York, you pay $1,300 for the same thing. So now we're going to be paying, instead of $1,300, you'll be paying about $150. And they'll be paying $150 too. We're going to pay the same thing. Favored nations. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And we've been ripped off by the whole world for a long period of time. One of the most popular fertility drug regimens costs over $5,000 per cycle, as an example. Wow. Largely as a result of these unsustainable prices, 70% of the employers do not offer insurance that covers IVF. Therefore, most couples with fertility challenges are paying these costs entirely out of their own pockets, which is not really possible to do. Oh, look who we have. Look at that, the great Maria Bartiromo. I didn't know, did you get put into the regular pool pack? That's very good. Yeah, that's good. Nice to see you. I'm doing an interview with her in a little while. In the Trump administration, we want to make it easier for all couples to have babies, raise children, and start the families they've always dreamed about. That's why today I'm pleased to announce that after extensive negotiations, EMD Serrano, the largest fertility drug manufacturer in the world, has agreed to provide massive discounts to all fertility drugs they sell in the United States, including the most popular drug of all, the IVF drug Gonal-F. So it's Gonal-F. Is that a proper pronunciation?
Very
Close
well
enough,
done.
right?
Very well done.
Gonal-F. As part of this agreement, EMD Serrano will list their fertility drugs online at trumprx.gov at very, very heavily reduced prices, prices that you won't even believe. And ultimately, that's because of the favored nations. In addition, the FDA will be working with the company to expedite review and approval of another common fertility IVF drug, and currently it's selling in Europe. It's Pergoveris. And that's a sounding nice name. Pergoveris. Why can't you name them nice, simple names? Nice, easy names. Doesn't matter. If it works, that's all we care about, right? Upon approval, this drug would directly compete against a much more expensive option that currently has a monopoly in the American market, and this will bring down costs very significantly. And the other one's going to have to come down also. Finally, EMD Serrano has agreed that all future drugs and everything that it develops and sells in the United States will be offset at most favored nation prices. I've been after this for a long time, and we started the process in the last administration, and then we had a little thing called COVID that came up. We had to focus on that, did a good job on that too. And they'll bring a significant portion of their drug manufacturing back to the United States. So they're going to bring it largely back into the United States, and that's for a lot of reasons, but primarily because of the election result, November 5th, and maybe most importantly because of the tariffs, because if they do it here, there are no tariffs. So we're going to be very close, I think by the end of this year, we're going to be very close to $20 trillion in investment. As an example, the Biden administration had less than $1 trillion, substantially less than $1 trillion for 4 years, Maria. Can you imagine? 4 years, less than one. We're going to break $20 trillion of investment, and we're already over $17 trillion, and that's in 8 months. Can you believe that? And he was at less than $1 trillion. And in addition to that, he had open borders, allowing millions of people to pour in. What an administration that was. Worst president in history, by far. As a result of these actions, the per-cycle cost of drugs used in IVF will fall by an estimated 73% for American consumers, and the numbers are going to actually be very substantially higher as time goes by when it really kicks in. For most of, I mean, think of those numbers. You know, I told the story last time because we were with Pfizer, and Pfizer's doing something very similar. But I told them that my first term, I was so proud of myself because I was the first president in 28 years where drug prices went down for the year. And you know what they went down? 1/8 of 1%. But I was so 1/8 of 1%. Now I'm getting them down, Maria, 500, 600, 800%. In some cases, even more than that. It's hard to believe. But I was proud. I said, oh, wow, I'm the first one. 1/8 of 1%. And I was proud of that. Now I realized, and I called a news conference. Some of you were at that news conference, actually. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We've gone down by 1/8 of 1%. And now we're going down 500, 600, 700, 800%, Richard. So it's really something. For most administrations and all of the people involved in this kind of thing, this action would be a crowning achievement of their agenda for fertility health. But for us, it's really just the beginning. It's just a start. It's one of many things we're doing. Today, we're also taking historic steps to vastly expand access to insurance coverage for fertility care, including IVF, something that, as you know, was not covered. Effective immediately, for the first time ever, we will make it legal for companies to offer supplemental insurance plans specifically for fertility. That's never been done before. We're signing it in today with what we sign. Americans will be able to opt in to specialized coverage just as they get vision and dental insurance. They're going to get fertility insurance for the first time. So I don't know. I don't know how well these things are covered. I see the Democrats like to take credit for all of the things we do. We do the things and they take the credit. But I figure if you do enough of these, eventually people are going to figure it out. The Democrats have done nothing. This will make all fertility care, including IVF, far more affordable and accessible. And by providing coverage at every step of the way, it will reduce the number of people who ultimately need to resort to IVF because couples will be able to identify and address problems early. The result will be healthier pregnancies, healthier babies, and many more beautiful American children. It's a big factor. It's a big deal. I'm asking all employers to make these new fertility benefit options available to their employees immediately. The initiatives I've just announced are the boldest and most significant actions ever taken by any president to bring the miracle of life into more American homes. And I will say Katie was great. As you know, she's a great senator from Alabama. She's the first one that told me about this. I had not known too much about it, and we worked very rapidly together, didn't we, though?
Mr. President, you saved
We had
the day.
everything passed, and Alabama then took care of it and passed it. Within a week, everything was done. Really, it was something. So I want to thank Katie, Brett. There's no deeper happiness and joy of raising children, and now millions of Americans struggling with infertility will have a new chance to share the greatest experience of them all. So I'd like to thank all of the people that are here, and I think we'll start with Dr. Oz and Ms. Horn. We'll go through the list and we'll listen. And yesterday I did this, and I stood for about an hour and a half as people spoke. And I said, this time I'm sitting right there, and I'm going to watch you. I stood for an hour and a half like this. I said, you got to be kidding. Here we go. It was one after another, and it was wonderful listening to them. But I said, if I have to do this every day, Bobby, should I stand or sit? Thank you, Bobby. Please, Dr. Oz.
Okay. Mr. President, I'm going to jump in here real quick. I want to start by thanking President Trump. Sir, from the very first phone call we ever had, your support was strong. It was steadfast. It was unwavering. And because of you, millions of Americans are going to have a greater opportunity to bring the greatest gift, in my opinion, life into this world. Your support, your administration's support, it's a game changer. All of us here today are aligned. This is a celebration of life. It's a celebration of parents. It's a celebration of families. And it's a celebration for those people who want to one day be parents themselves. I think every parent can attest, and I certainly do myself, that the greatest gift that God has ever given me is the ability to be a mom. We want more people to have that opportunity. We want to make that easier and more affordable. IVF is what makes the difference for so many families that are facing infertility. So you've seen the numbers. It's either 1 in 8 couples, or some people say as much as 1 in 6, are actually experiencing issues with fertility. It's 9% of males and at least 11% of females that are facing these challenges as they work to build their family. The recommendations today that President Trump has set forth are going to expand IVF coverage to nearly 1 million more families, and they're going to drive down cost significantly. Mr. President, this is the most pro-IVF thing that any president in the history of the United States of America has done. And Mr. President, it's your leadership. You are the reason why the Republican Party is now the party of parents. We are the party of families. This is why when Senator Cruz and I worked last year, we got every single Republican senator to sign on and say that they supported nationwide access to IVF. And just for the record, IVF is legal and accessible in all 50 states. And President Trump, taking this action today to lower cost, to bring these issues to the forefront, and to enact solutions for people working to start their families, I want you to know it's significant and there's more to come. But this isn't the only thing that you've done to prove that we're the party of parents and we're the party of families. If you look at the working family tax cut, guys, he made sure that hard-working parents were front and center in that legislation. You know, whether it was child tax credits being expanded and made permanent, whether it was Trump accounts that are going to change the game for so many parents, or whether it was childcare. So for decades, we have heard Democrats talk about childcare. President Trump actually took action on the affordability and accessibility of childcare. We know that 1 in 4 families say that they hesitate to have more children because of the cost and because of childcare cost. For the first time, this man actually took steps to change the dynamics for hardworking parents. So of the 3 tax credits that he reformed and the working families tax cuts, 2 of them had not been touched in 2 decades, and 1 of them had not been touched since 1986. So President Reagan was in office the last time anybody did anything about it. But you changed the game on that, and I was proud to lead that effort in the Senate. And so on behalf of moms and dads, on behalf of grandparents and sisters and aunts and uncles and brothers and people who are looking to expand their family, we say thank you. Thank you for all you do to support families in this country and make a healthier environment and an easier one for us to grow the very most important thing. God bless.
I'm gonna cut in for a second here, okay? So I need to cut in with some breaking news I'm seeing right now. We'll go back and watch President Trump take questions if he takes questions. So, Secretary of War / Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has announced that Admiral Alvin Halsey is leaving, is planning on retiring. Okay, and the New York Times reports that Admiral Halsey is the military commander overseeing the Pentagon's escalating attacks against the boats in the Caribbean Sea. The New York Times says it was unclear why Admiral Halsey is leaving now, less than a year into his tenure, and in the midst of the biggest operation in his 37-year career. So, again, Defense Secretary / Secretary of War Hegseth said that Halsey is leaving. He plans to retire at the year's end. The New York Times is reporting that he is stepping down and that he is the military commander overseeing the Pentagon's escalating attacks against boats in the Caribbean Sea, and it is unclear why he is stepping down. Now, Secretary Hegseth said that he is retiring, but there's no explanation of why now. So I don't know. Obviously, one would wonder, does his leaving, does his stepping down have anything to do with his views on the attacks on the boats in the Caribbean, or is it just something else? I don't know. I don't know. So I will let you know if I hear more about that, but that is just coming out now. Yeah, Konstantin Toropin with AP also says Halsey is the head of Southcom, the combatant command that has been overseeing all of the military action against boats near Venezuela. By the way, quick shout out to, I first saw that from AZ Intel's post, thanks to AZ Intel's post. So I am interrupting right now because Trump is not speaking, and I want to talk about this breaking news that the admiral who has been leading the Pentagon's effort to blow up boats in the Caribbean that are allegedly carrying drugs, it has suddenly been announced that he is stepping down, and it's unclear why. So if I get more information on that, I will let you know. President Trump said he's going to talk about some other things. I think he's going to talk about Putin. All right, so in a second I will put I'll put the audio back on, and I will look for more updates. I'm going to put the audio back on right now.
To take us through the exciting details of what this is going to offer for the American people, especially those who are in the workforce.
Oh, wrong
but first,
audio.
We think you should hear from Libby Horn. Libby's EMD Serrano's head of fertility. She brings both professional expertise and a personal connection to this work. She has 3 beautiful daughters, and she has personally benefited from reproductive medicine that has shaped her family. And her company made today's spectacular MFM pricing possible. Libby.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Thank you, Mr. President. Today, we gather on this national stage to celebrate a historic step forward in expanding access to fertility treatments for those who need it most. Mr. President, thanks to your leadership and the tireless efforts of your team, this is a momentous day for Americans who struggle but remain hopeful to build their families. Infertility is on the rise in our country. 1 in 8 couples face infertility. This isn't just a number, it's real lives, dreams, and aspirations of hardworking Americans. The teacher who goes to school each day, surrounded by children, but aching for children of her own. The firefighter who puts his life on the line, but can't create the life he wants at home. The consequences of these challenges can take significant tolls. Some of you watching today have given up or are frustrated because access to IVF treatments has been out of reach. That's why expanding access to IVF has been an issue of great importance to the President. He made this clear in his executive order declaring the administration's goal of supporting American families by enabling access and eliminating barriers to IVF. Today, EMD Serrano is proud to help President Trump deliver on his promise to you. Thanks to the President's leadership, EMD Serrano has worked alongside distributors and other partners to help more families have access to services and innovations that are consistent with other countries. Through our partnership with the administration, we are proud to announce that Americans will have access to our leading IVF therapies for an 84% discount off list prices.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you for making this possible.
Thank you very much. It's great. Fantastic.
For more than 40 years, EMD Serrano has been a global leader in fertility. Our science was instrumental in the birth of the first IVF baby in the US, and we've helped to bring more than 6 million babies into the world since then. Our purpose is to help create, improve, and prolong life. That means discovering more medicines and bringing them to patients faster. FDA Commissioner McCary has made it a priority to ensure that Americans have access to the world's most innovative treatments as quickly as possible. To that end, EMD Serrano is filing a new IVF therapy called Pergoveris for review under the FDA Commissioner's National Priority Voucher Program. If approved, Pergoveris would combine 2 key reproductive hormones in synergy designed to mimic reproductive physiology. This therapeutic option could mean fewer injections, fewer copays, and lower self-pay cost, all of which make a real difference in the IVF patient experience. In closing, on behalf of EMD Serrano, I want to send my heartfelt thanks to President Trump and the entire administration for their leadership and vision in this critical area of healthcare. Together, we will make a difference in the lives of countless families across this nation and uphold our long-standing legacy of creating life. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for your bold leadership that's allowed our teams to go far beyond what anyone thought was possible. On behalf of the Domestic Policy Council and Vince Haley here, We would like to also thank all the agency partners and the stakeholders that we worked with to get to the solution today that will make a real impact for families. Specifically, today's historic actions, 4 in total that you see, are made possible by coordination of all of the White House team and 7 agencies, many of who are represented here, and their teams that have worked tirelessly. As you described, Mr. President, the current system isn't working. 7 in 10 Americans don't have coverage to IVF. They face high costs and uncertain outcomes. And there's intense demand for fertility benefits. 65% of Americans say that they would leave their current job just because of fertility benefits. So you asked us to lower costs and to fix the broken incentives in healthcare. So in addition to lowering the cost of drugs by 73% or $2,200 per cycle, which if you missed it, most people require 2 or 3 cycles. So that's significant savings for families. I'm also going to briefly outline the new solution for coverage. This is a new fertility benefit option that employers can immediately offer to their employees starting today. This afternoon, the Departments of Labor, Health and Human Services, and Treasury will be releasing guidance that, for the first time, creates a legal pathway for employers to offer fertility benefit packages to people that need them, similar to how dental, vision, and life insurance are currently offered. This will be followed up by a regulation. These benefits can address the continuum of fertility needs, from the root causes of IVF, which Secretary Kennedy is working on very hard at HHS, to it'll be a coordinated package that does not exist in traditional health insurance today. It'll make it easier for employers, including small and mid-sized employers, to compete for talented employees. Currently, many small businesses cannot afford to offer fertility benefits at all. This is making it possible for them to offer benefits the same way that large companies like Amazon and others offer benefits. This is a pro-family benefit expansion that will transform clinical outcomes by addressing fragmented coverage and care. I'm a physician by training, and it's very important that we have high-quality care. Fertility benefit companies are poised to offer packages that have reported so far roughly 25% higher live birth rates for those that seek care compared to those that don't have such benefits. They also report fewer cycles to achieve pregnancy, improved natural pregnancy rates through better care before you need IVF, and reduced chance of miscarriages, a 21% reduction in miscarriage rate. Leading physicians in the field have also relayed that these types of benefits significantly improve the patient and doctor experience, allowing both to focus on care rather than navigating the bureaucracy. These impacts are very personal. Here with us today are my good friends, Congressman Richard Hudson of North Carolina and his wife, Renee Hudson. Both have worked in public service for years, including Renee for all 4 years of your past administration, Mr. President, and they struggled with infertility. Today they have a beautiful son who's their pride and joy. He's an amazing boy. But they also suffered multiple losses throughout their fertility journey, something that is very common. Unfortunately, too many people go through the hard, arduous process of IVF and still result in a miscarriage. So today, your option is not only saving money, it's going to improve the quality of care significantly. This new benefit option simultaneously represents the greatest opportunity to expand coverage of IVF that the federal government has ever taken.
I'm going to interrupt for one more moment. I'm going to interrupt for one more moment. So, as I mentioned before, the admiral who was the person in charge of Southcom, which is overseeing, so the person who oversees, the head person overseeing the U.S. military's strikes on the boats, the drug boats in the Caribbean Sea. It was just announced, Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth just announced about a half hour ago that person is retiring. The New York Times said that he is stepping down, and it's unclear why he's stepping down. Now, hold on one second, as I'll have to refresh this video. But the Admiral himself just released a statement. So give me one moment. I can get you the video back. But the Admiral just released a statement. So hang on one moment. I want to, and we'll go back and President Trump is supposed to speak. Here, hold on, the video's coming up right now. President Trump is supposed to speak on other topics shortly, but I want to read you the statement from Admiral Alvin Halsey, the Southcom commander. Okay, he says it has, actually, maybe I can put it on the screen for you. While we're watching this, I'll put his statement on the screen for you so you can see it. He doesn't seem to say why he's stepping down. Here is his statement. I know it's kind of in the way, but he says, it's been an honor to serve our nation, the American people, and support and defend the Constitution over 37 years. Effective December 12th, he will retire from the U.S. Navy. So less than 2 months from now, he's retiring. Serving as your commander and deep deputy for the past 34 months has been a tremendous honor. The Southcom team has made lasting contributions to the defense of our nation and will continue to do so. I am confident that you will forge ahead based on your mission that strengthens our nation and ensures its longevity as a beacon of freedom around the globe. Stephanie and I extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to have served alongside our nation's finest warfighters. Keep charging. So he didn't say why he's retiring. And the New York Times said that, real quick, the Times said it was unclear why he is leaving now, less than a year into his tenure, and in the midst of the biggest operation in his 37-year career. So what can I say? All right, I'll be looking for more updates on that. I'm going to send you back over to the White House. Again, President Trump is expected to speak on other topics at this appearance. He said he was going to. So let's go back over to the White House, and we'll keep an eye there. I'm also looking for information. It's possible that John Bolton will be indicted today. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. But let's send you back over to the White House.
But they truly care about us. Thank you, Mr. President, and to your family for shining a light on infertility and for standing by couples like Kyle and I, for standing by couples who only want to hear the words mommy and daddy, who want to watch our children open their Christmas presents on Christmas morning, who want to see the world anew through the joy in their kids' eyes. Your acknowledgement honors the power of family, faith, and love, the very values that make America the greatest country in the world. It's proof that when promises are made and promises are kept, lives are changed forever. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anybody else? Howard, would you like to say a couple of words? I was hoping you would say that. Thank you very much. Bobby, come on up for a second. What a job you're doing. Yeah, say a few words, Bobby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your vision, your commitment to our country. When my uncle was president, the fertility rate in this country was 3.5%. Today, it is 1.6%. The replacement rate, in other words, the amount of fertility that you need in order to keep your population even, is 2.1%. We are below replacement right now. That is a national security threat to our country. And we know why this is happening. And President Trump is addressing the root causes through his MAHA agenda of reducing endocrine disruptors, the exposure to chemicals that decrease fertility. Today, the average teenager in this country has 50% of the sperm count, 50% of the testosterone as a 65-year-old man. Our girls are hitting puberty 6 years earlier. And that's bad, but also our parents aren't having children. Parents who want to have children do not have access. I have 7 children. I feel that God has blessed me with that, and I can't imagine how different my life would be if I did not have that blessing. I want to point out also that This morning, Harvard University released a study that showed that the obesity rates have now climbed over 70%. And this, again, is for the same reason we're flooding our kids. We're poisoning mass poisoning a generation of kids with chemicals. President Trump has instructed us to stop these problems at the root cause. He's also recognized that there are people who are injured, people who are not living their life to the fullest, and he's addressing that. Last week, we made GLP drugs available at Most Favored Nation. And this week, it's IVF. Oh, I want to thank you so much for that, Mr. President. I saw on an airplane the other day, you said that you didn't believe that you were going to get to heaven. You're doing God's work here. You've made peace in the Middle East, which is beyond anybody's imagination. And now you're giving millions of Americans a chance to have babies. And you're doing this while the government is locked down by the Democrats. But this administration has not stopped working for the American people. And that's because of your energy, your commitment, your vision, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
You did a great job. And he's doing a great job. And by the way, Kyle is fantastic. So he's got a lot of courage. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't care. Howard, you and I would not be good at that. Right? We'd go about 30 miles an hour, but we'd be safe. Anyway, so thank you very much. Any questions, please?
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, this is a major campaign promise that you made. It was a big hot topic towards the election. You're delivering on that again. Actually, I had a question for Secretary Kennedy or Dr. Heidi. Dr. Heidi, you said something that I thought was really important. You talked about how this coverage option, this benefit option, gives companies the maximum flexibility to design benefits consistent to their values. I was wondering if either you or the President could expand on that and talk about why that's an important thing to understand about this program.
Yes, thank you. It's a great question. We think that employers are best situated to know what them and their employees want to contribute to in relation to their benefits. So employers are going to be able to decide how to cover the root causes of infertility, things like obesity, metabolic health, and other things that are impacting infertility. And also, if they want to encourage their employees to see certain types of doctors, and they can work with providers that are identifying the highest quality fertility providers. And so it puts them in the driver's seat. And our view is that we want employers to be the ones that can make those decisions, not the government. Thank you.
All right. That's a good answer.
Yeah, it was.
That was a very good answer. Yeah, please,
Mr. President, previously you did not seem to be bothered regarding Hamas cracking down on what you called gangs. Actually,
what?
Couple of gangs. And today you issued a threat against Hamas on Truth Social. What has changed?
And what was said? Go ahead.
You said that they keep killing innocents in Gaza, that if that continues, the United States will
I know,
go
I
after
issued
them.
a strong statement, that's right.
But they used to be gangs, and now you're saying innocents. What made you think they're innocents now?
Well, I'm looking at what's happening, and that wasn't the deal that was made, and we'll see what happens. It's calmed down. It's a tough neighborhood, we know that. We have a commitment from them, and I assume they're going to honor that commitment. I hope they do. And I understand they brought back some additional bodies today. It's a rough deal when you think of it, right? Very rough. And we have our hostages back completely. We were very lucky with that. But it's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave good, if they don't behave, we'll take care of it. Yeah, please.
Following up on that, when you
I
said,
didn't say you.
Mr. President,
Your CNN, fake news. Go ahead.
You said in your post that if they kept killing people in Gaza, we would have no choice but to go in and kill them. So do you mean U.S. forces would go in and take out?
No, I didn't say who would go in, but somebody will go in. It's not going to be us. We won't have to. There are people very close, very nearby that will go in. They'll do the trick very easily. but under our auspices.
Could I follow up? You also posted about your call with President Putin today, and you spoke about the meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
Yeah, I would say within 2 weeks or so, pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal. We'll meet and talk parties, but this is a terrible relationship the two of them have, and it's one of those things. I've seen things that nobody would believe, but this is one of them. So we're going to be meeting in Hungary. Viktor Orban is going to be hosting, and it's really something that's time. Last week, over 7,000 people were killed. That's ridiculous. And it doesn't affect our country. We're not losing people. We're not losing Bobby. We're not losing Americans, but they're losing Russians, Ukrainians, mostly soldiers, for the most part, soldiers. And we think we're going to get it. We hope we're going to get it stopped. I thought this would be, because of my relationship with President Putin, I thought this would be very quick. And it's turned out to be, who would think I did Middle East before I did this? We did a total of 8 now, 7 and now 8. And we're going to make this number 9.
Yeah, please. So you said you posted that there was great progress. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Was it a shift in Putin's tone? Was it something new he told you? Did he give you any message to give?
You're talking about the whole
President Zelensky tomorrow.
It just seems to me that, look, it's only a field. That's all I've done in my whole life. I've made deals. I know about deals. I do it well. I don't think any president's ever ended a war, frankly. One war, I did 8 of them, Maria, right? And but I don't know, did Bush ever end? Do you think Biden ended a war? Biden started wars because he was stupid. But do you think Biden ended any wars? No, I don't know of anybody that ended wars. I ended 8 of them, and it's going to be 9. I think we're going to have this one done hopefully soon. But I'll be meeting him probably over the next 2 weeks. First, Marco is going to be meeting. And the vice president, as you know, is very much involved. The whole team is involved. Steve Witkoff will be involved. Yeah, please.
What did you tell them about the Tomahawks? Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles? Did you discuss?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Why do you think a second meeting with Putin now will yield different results?
Well, I think Alaska actually set a stage, and that wasn't very long ago, but it set a stage. You have to understand, I came into this situation. I didn't start this war. This is a Biden deal. And I came into it, and it was a mess. It could have led to World War III. In my opinion, this could have led to World War III. That won't happen, but it could have. So I came in, this war was raging. When I left, this wasn't even a thought. For 4 years, nobody talked about it. I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but there was never going to be doing anything like this. And this all went because of some really bad decisions that were made. And look what you have. You have millions of people dead. You have just a horrible, horrible situation. I'm doing it to save souls. That's all I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for us. We have an ocean between us. I'm doing it also to help Europe. They want to have it ended, but they're unable to do it. I'm able to do it. So I think we'll be successful. We'll save a lot of lives. It should have been done. Should have never started. This would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. This would have never happened. But it did happen. And I'll get it stopped. Okay.
What's your message to conservatives?
Yeah, you mentioned a $1,300 drug at the top of this. Were you referring to the weight loss drugs?
Yeah, I was referring to Ozempic, or I was heard the fat loss drug.
So those are going to be $150 out of pocket
Yeah,
for
well,
Americans.
they'll be much lower. They'll be much lower. Yeah, go ahead, please.
We have not negotiated those yet. We're going to be rolling these out over time. The GOP category of drugs, which includes Ozempic, have not been negotiated yet.
What's the timeline for that?
But it will. It'll come down, like everyone else.
Okay. Any timeline on those negotiations?
No, but I think those are going to come down pretty fast, and we do have, I guess, some alternatives.
The president will be happy with the result, and until he is, we're not going to close those negotiations. Thank you.
Except it'll happen.
Got it.
Mr. President, what's your message to pro-life conservatives? Some pro-life conservatives have religious objections to IVF and are already critical of this policy. What's your message to them?
I don't know about the views of that. I'm just looking to do something because, pro-life, I think this is very pro-life. You can't get more pro-life than this. Please.
Mr. President, you've been talking about how this new benefit plan will also include root cause treatments for infertility. How will you make sure that those root cause treatments are equally accessible to IVF?
Well, I think we're going to be doing that. Would anybody like to talk about that subject?
I'll comment
Please.
on the rulemaking process. I think it's the determination, again, Secretary of Labor, the determination, the Department of Labor is issuing their intent today to open up the rulemaking process, again, for more flexibility. Anytime that you have a president who's leading when you can offer more access to health care at a lower rate is a benefit to the American people and to the end user, and that's exactly what he's doing. And so you heard before that through the Q&A guidance that was issued today with the other agencies, that will give guidance to our employers and the employees about what the flexibility of that is, and then again, opening that rulemaking process for further determination of the access that can be had, offered in those benefits for all different types of healthcare access is the goal of the Department of Labor.
Good answer.
Thank you.
I like this better. I just say, they can do better than me. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, do you think
Good job, Larry. You're doing a fantastic job. I shouldn't tell, I won't say it, that I will not say that she was recommended by the Teamsters. Can you believe it? And she's turned out to be a gem, an absolute gem. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, John Bolton was just indicted.
Do you think we could see your deal-making skills applied to the government shutdown anytime soon?
Well, look, all we want to do is just extend. We don't want anything. We just want to extend, live with the deal that they had. They want to spend $1.5 trillion on illegal immigrants, and they want to destroy health care for everyone else, and it's crazy. It's crazy. People that are here illegally, they want to spend $1.5 trillion. So we're just not going to do it. No, we have to take care of our health care. Now, we're doing that today, and we're doing it with, favored nations, the most favored nations. Your costs are going to be dropping greatly. And I'm really happy that it's at the beginning of my administration, because I did insulin and got it down to like $25, but it doesn't kick in. It didn't kick in for 2 years by statute, so it couldn't kick in. And I said, boy, I hope I win this election, because if I don't, somebody else is going to take credit for it, Bobby. And sure as can be, Biden said, he didn't even know what the hell was happening, and it was a hard thing for me to do. I got insulin way down. What was it before that? It was just massive. It was impossible to afford. And sure as can be, because it was statute, it couldn't have been earlier. I said, boy, this falls into the next administration. I better win. And all of a sudden, I watch this Biden taking credit for something that I did. And on other things, too. We had a lot of things kick in. So the nice part about this is at the beginning of our administration, so I think we're going to see the fruits of our labor. And I hope on our other situation that we've talked so much about, autism, I hope we're going to see some very good results based on the recommendations that we made. And, we have time to watch those results now.
John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, bad person.
I'm hearing that for the first time,
I think he's
was John Bolton indicted?
Bad guy, yeah. He's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person.
Indicted.
Okay, anybody else?
He was indicted for the IVF drug through the National Commissioner Priority Review Voucher. Dr. McCary.
What do you think?
CNN says John Bolton was indicted.
First of all, the National Priority Voucher Program says we're going to proactively at the FDA look for amazing treatments like this IVF treatment. we're going to reach out to the companies, and if it's in line with the president's national priorities, we're going to put those drugs at the front of the line and get a decision out in weeks instead of a year. And so today we announced 9 drugs that are going to be recipients. These are products where the manufacturing is going to be in the United States, or it's meeting a large unmet public health need, like a diabetes drug we announced today. Or it is a product where you're going to see an affordability phenomena because the prices are getting equalized in line with the president's most favored nation status goal.
Wow, that's good. Why didn't I have him speak? He was so, could have saved a lot of time, right? Thanks, Lonnie. I'm not surprised. Yeah, please.
Thank you. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune today said he'd like to proceed with the bill which would put sanctions on Russia. What's your thought on that?
Well, we're going to see. He doesn't know about the call yet. I'm going to speak to him later. And it was subject to what I wanted to do. And so we'll see what happens. We may have, this may be such a productive call that we're going to end up, we want to get peace. We want to stop the killing. 7,000 people a week. Can you believe it? We want to stop the killing. So I'm going to speak to him and the speaker, Mike Johnson. I'll speak to them a little bit later and I'll tell them about this. And we'll make the right determination. I'm not against anything. I'm just saying it may not be perfect timing. It could happen in a week or two, but it's at my option, as you know.
Right, but did President Putin try to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles?
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks? Is he going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it. I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way.
Hold on. That feed keeps resetting. I think we're back.
He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, but no, he doesn't want Tomahawk. Tomahawk is a vicious weapon. It's a vicious, offensive, incredibly destructive weapon. Nobody wants Tomahawk shot at them.
Specifically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that? CNN. Who wouldn't do that? You know, do you think he's going to say, I'd love to have Tomahawk sent my way? I don't think so. Maria, we have one of the great stars of television here, and she's an incredible person, and she's just an amazing woman who, she got it all right. She got the Russia hoax right. She got everything. Would you have a question?
Yes, Mr. President. I would ask you why this was so important to you, IVF, and why was autism so important to you? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, autism is like a whole different thing. When you look at, it was 1 in 20,000. Now it's 1 in 12. If you look, Bobby, we have different numbers, but 1 in 12, 1 in 28, 1 in 32. There's a couple of different numbers out there, but it's 1 in a very, very different number than it used to be. It used to be 1 in 20,000. And that was not that long ago, 20 years ago or so. And now they had something for boys, for babies, baby boys. It's 1 in 12. I heard 1 in 10, Bobby. I heard another one, you know, different lists. But when you think of that, it's not even sustainable, but there's something artificial. When that happens, that's not like a natural. And then you have certain groups of people that literally don't have autism, and they're not taking some of the things that we're taking. So we're working very hard. And on IVF, it's just that I have friends, including Katie, that called me and they told me the importance of it. I wasn't that familiar with it. Now I think I've sort of become the father ever since I heard. There was a bad decision in Alabama where a judge wanted all clinics to be immediately closed, right? And Katie called up and you said you were pretty strongly attacked by your friends that you didn't even know were involved with IVF, right?
You had people that had grandkids, people who'd gone through IVF themselves, telling their story. And saying there are people that cope with her.
Tell what you did when you heard from your friends. You said this was not They almost became violent. Right?
I told him, I said, Mr. President, we need you. We need your voice in this conversation. We need the directive. We need the strong support, because there are millions of people out there, moms and dads, wanting to bring life into the world. And you had people, the chilling effect that occurred across Alabama, there were people that were in the middle of that process that had been praying to have a child, and that was halted. And so the reality of that was very stark in our state. And so I was able to tell the president some of the stories of people, friends and grandparents and relatives that told me what they had experienced, and also, what they were fearful of in the future. And the president very quickly acted, spoke with a strong voice, and really led the way. Obviously, we saw Democrats continue to fearmonger for the remainder of the year, trying to use it as an election issue, when actually IVF is legal and accessible in all 50 states. And President Trump very clearly said where he was on this, and he said, I'm going to make sure that this is more accessible and that it is more affordable for families coast to coast. That's exactly what he did, but it's that real life, there's real life stories, sir, that he responded to. And that's what people don't know about him. He cares. And when you tell him what American people are dealing with, he wants to do something about it. You have leaders and politicians that come before him that want to talk about things. President Trump wants to actually make things happen. That's exactly what he did here, and I'm so grateful, Mr. President.
Thank you, Katie, very much. Appreciate it. So we will go back to what we're doing. Working again with Marco and with JD and a few other people on the war, and we're doing a lot of other things also. The economy is unbelievable. It really is. It's been incredible. And I think one of the great numbers that I've ever heard, think of it, over $17 trillion being invested in our country. And when you think of, compare that to the last administration, but really compare it to any administration, compare it to any country. There's never been a country with anything like that. That's in a period of 8 months. And we've already broken every record possible. There's never anything even close. So we'll go back to all of that. Prices are down. Oil is down. We're down $58 a barrel. We're going to be hitting $2 for gasoline. I think we're going to be at $2. And the previous administration, they were at $4 and $5. They were going up much higher. And then they swung back into my things, but they didn't swing back properly. They were very, very late. They really blew it. We had it really going in the right direction. They came and took everything out, and it's incredible. I'll never forget. They lost control of the price of gasoline, of oil. They totally lost control, Howard, and then they went back immediately. Well, let's go back to Trump. But by that time, it was too late, and they didn't go back because the leases and everything else. They didn't do what they had to do. They wouldn't know. They really didn't know how to. But we could be hitting close to $2 a gallon. I'd love to break it if we could, but we could be. And when that comes down, everything else has been coming down. Groceries are down. The price of things are down. And honestly, the simplicity is, if you can get oil down, it's such a big category, everything follows. So just about everything follows. And we are working on beef, and I think we have a deal on beef that's going to bring the price of beef. That would be the one product that we would say is a little bit higher than we want it, maybe higher than we want it, and that's going to be coming down pretty soon too. We did something, we worked our magic. But groceries are down, and energy is down, electricity is way down. We have the prices coming down for people. They were abused for 4 years by the Biden administration. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Changes to the IRS.
Thank you, Press.
All right, John Bolton has been indicted. John Bolton, the former national security advisor of President Trump, who became a prominent Trump critic, has now been indicted. Multiple outlets are reporting, and we're going to cover that. Let me just I want to fix the graphic there. And he becomes the third prominent Trump critic to be indicted in the last several weeks. So that's new breaking news. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton indicted. And let me, this is coming in now, so hold on a moment, and let me get you more updates here. Let me get you more updates. Let me just make sure I don't have any video relevant to this. Sorry, things are developing fast. I have an article on it right here. I have a report right here for you. Here. Ex-Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton charged in probe of mishandling classified information. Former Trump administration National Security Advisor John Bolton was charged today in a federal investigation into the potential mishandling of classified information. So, the Trump Justice Department went before a grand jury, and a majority of the grand jury voted to indict him. Remember, in a grand jury proceeding, the defendant does not have any representation there. The investigation into Bolton, who served for more than a year in President Trump's first administration before being fired in 2019, burst into public view in August when the FBI searched Bolton's home in Maryland and his office in Washington for classified records he may have held onto from his years in government. Agents during the August search seized multiple documents labeled classified, confidential, and secret from Bolton's office, according to previously unsealed court filings. Some of the seized records appeared to concern weapons of mass destruction, national strategic communication, and the U.S. mission to the UN, the filing stated. The indictment sets the stage for a closely watched court case centering on a longtime fixture in Republican foreign policy circles who became known for his hawkish views on American power and who, after leaving Trump's first government, emerged as a prominent and vocal critic of Trump. Though the investigation that produced the indictment began before Trump's second term, the case will unfold against the backdrop of broader concerns that Trump's Justice Department is being weaponized to go after his political adversaries. It follows separate indictments over the last month accusing former FBI Director James Comey of lying to Congress and New York Attorney General Letitia James of committing bank fraud and making a false statement, charges they both deny. Both of those cases were filed in federal court in Virginia by a prosecutor Trump hastily installed in the position after growing frustrated that investigations into high-profile enemies had not resulted in prosecution. This case, by contrast, was filed in Maryland by a U.S. attorney who, before being elevated to the job, had been a career prosecutor in the office. And AP also says questions about Bolton's handling of classified information date back for years. He faced a lawsuit in a Justice Department investigation in the first a lawsuit in a Justice Department investigation after leaving office related to information in a 2020 book he published, The Room Where It Happened, that portrayed Trump as grossly uninformed about foreign policy. I believe this was the first Trump administration asserted that Bolton's manuscript included classified information that could harm national security if exposed. Bolton's lawyers have said he moved forward with the book after a White House National Security Council official with whom Bolton had worked for months said the manuscript no longer contained classified information. A search warrant affidavit that was previously unsealed said a National Security Council official had reviewed the book manuscript and told Bolton in 2020 that it appeared to contain significant amounts of classified info, some at a top secret level. Bolton's attorney Abby Lowell has said that many of the documents seized in August had been approved as part of a pre-publication review for Bolton's book. He said that many were decades old from Bolton's long career in the State Department as an assistant attorney general and as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. The indictment is a dramatic moment in Bolton's long career in government. John Bolton served in the Justice Department during Ronald Reagan's administration and was the State Department's point man on arms control during George W. Bush's presidency. Bolton was nominated by Bush to serve as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. But the strong supporter of the Iraq War was unable to win Senate confirmation and resigned after serving 17 months as a Bush recess appointment. Trump appointed Bolton to be National Security Advisor in 2018, but his brief tenure was characterized by disputes with Trump over North Korea, Iran, and Ukraine. Those rifts led to Bolton's departure. Bolton subsequently criticized Trump's approach to foreign policy and government in his 2020 book. Trump responded by slamming Bolton as a washed-up guy and a crazy warmonger who would have led the country into World War VI. Now, I don't know. Again, the investigation into Bolton dates back before this current Trump administration. I believe it started in the first Trump administration. I don't know. One question I don't know is, has the investigation just been going along steadily, or was there any push from the Trump from Trump or Trump Justice Department officials in recent months to start stepping up this investigation? I have no idea. I just don't know. I do not know. Anyways, I'm sorry to, normally I don't read that much, but I want to give you guys some background on what was going on. So it's certainly going to be questioned whether this is the Trump Justice Department targeting a critic of Trump's. There will be debate over that. But again, he has been charged. Oh, let me just see if we have a statement, an official statement about this. From the Justice Department. I think we want the U.S. Attorney's Office, Maryland, because that's the one who was handling this. Let me see if I can get a statement from them. U.S. Attorney, Maryland. Have they released a statement on their website yet? I'm looking at it. And I'm waiting to see. That would tell us maybe more about exactly what he was charged with. So I'm going to the the U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Maryland, Kelly O. Hayes, U.S. Attorney. I can't even, I tried to load the page, the news page, and it won't load. Oh, here it is. They have not posted it yet on their website. They have not posted it yet on their website, any official statement about this. All right, so we're bringing you live coverage of this new development. And there's another story I want to mention too. Hold on a moment. Breaking news, John Bolton has been indicted on 18 counts. ABC's Catherine Folders just posted the indictment. I have the indictment in front of me. So he is being, here it is. I have 18 counts. Counts 1 through 9 are transmission, 1 through 8 are transmission of national defense information. Counts 9 through 18 are retention of national defense information. He has been charged with 18 counts. And I haven't seen it confirmed. Well, I'm assuming these might be felonies, but I'm not sure. So 18 counts. John Bolton. I'm gonna show you the indictment in a second. Okay? So transmission of national defense information. Anyways, let's look at the indictment for a second. I'll wait for the official statement, the press release, to come out. But we can actually now look at the indictment. The other story we're keeping an eye on is that the head of U.S. Southern Command, which is the region of the U.S. military, which is overseeing the U.S. military strikes on those boats in the Caribbean, the head of U.S. Southern Command, the highest military official in the region where those strikes on those boats in the Caribbean near Venezuela, or coming out of Venezuela allegedly, have been going on. Suddenly it was announced today that he is retiring in less than 2 months. That is Alvin Halsey. There has been no reason given for his retirement. He released a statement, but he did not give a reason. The New York Times said it's unclear why he's leaving now, less than a year into his tenure, and in the midst of the biggest operation in his 37-year career. So that's another story we're keeping an eye on as well. All right, let's look at this indictment of John Bolton. I appreciate everybody being with the coverage. Sorry, it's been a little busy, so we've been kind of doing just reporting on news. I owe a quick thanks to P.A. Jeeper, who says, block up Bolton. Lock him up. Thank you, P.A. Jeeper. Thank you, I Am Charlie. Thank you, Sydney, for the gift memberships. Thanks to Gabri. I appreciate it, Gabri, for your support. Sevenfold, 777. Thanks, Himjamin Franklin, for being a member. Eminem Morel, thanks for your support. And also, I owe a couple more thank yous here. Thank you also to Kristen Gates. Thanks so much, Kristen Gates, for your support. And thank you to Malice Bixie for subscribing on Twitch. And let me, as we're about to take a look at the indictment here, and here it is, the John Bolton indictment right here. Let me just thank our moderators, Ruth Grafasi, Beth Mythical. I'm going to change the headline to John Bolton indicted on 18 counts. Beth Mythical, Ruth Grafasi on YouTube. Thanks for moderating over there. Linda Bell, Glary, and Misha on X. Thanks for moderating. Idaho Star, LB Prairie Dawn, Big Ball of Yarn, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev. Appreciate you moderating. And also over on Facebook, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, and any other moderators I might be missing. Paul Anderson, thank you. Okay, let's look at the indictment. Here is the indictment of John Bolton. Now, general allegations, it talks about how he was national security advisor. When he was National Security Advisor, the indictment says he had access to some of the U.S. government's most sensitive and closely guarded national secrets. Okay. I'm just going through to try to get the key quick stuff quickly here so you can understand what happened. He had access to all this information. All right, so the indictment says from on or about April 29th, 2018 through at least on or about August 22nd, 2025, Bolton abused his position as National Security Advisor by sharing more than 1,000 pages of information about his day-to-day activities as the National Security Advisor, including information relating to the national defense, which was classified to the top secret SCI level, with two unauthorized individuals, namely individuals 1 and 2. Bolton also unlawfully retained documents, writings, and notes relating to the national defense, including information classified up to top secret SCI level in his home in Maryland. Now, is it like his relatives 1 and 2? Hold on, I saw a report about this. I saw a report about this a short while ago. Yes, so Ken Delanian says the indictment said he shared them with 2 relatives. The indictment says he shared information with 2 relatives and says his email account was hacked by Iran. All right, hold on a second here. I want to see if I can find out more about who the individuals are. Individual 1 and individual 2. I believe Ken Delaney of NBC says those are 2 relatives. Oh, yes, it says it right here. Individual 1 was related to Bolton. Individual 2 was related to Bolton. Okay, so he is accused of sharing material with 2 relatives and keeping material at his home. Okay, just to be clear, he is accused of sharing more than 1,000 pages of information about his day-to-day activities as National Security Advisor, including information relating to the defense, national defense, which was classified up to top secret SCI level, with 2 relatives, and he is accused of unlawfully retaining documents, writings, and notes relating to the national defense, including information classified up to the top secret SCI level in his home. That's what he's accused of. Okay, they say from about April 9th, 2018 to September 15th, 2019, on a regular basis, Bolton sent diary-like entities to these 2 relatives that contained information, classified information. Bolton wrote many of these diary-like entries by transcribing his handwritten notes from his day's activities into word processing documents, which he then electronically emailed to the 2 relatives through a commercial non-governmental messaging application. On other occasions, Bolton used his personal non-governmental email accounts, such as email accounts hosted by AOL and Google, to email classified information, information classified up to a certain level, to these 2 relatives at their personal email accounts. At no point did he have authorization to store or transmit the classified information that he sent to his 2 relatives via his personal electronic devices and accounts. Okay. Then they say many of his diary-like entries from his time as National Security Advisor, including entries that contain classified information, were printed and stored at his personal residence, they say. Digital copies of those entries were also stored on his personal electronic devices. that and others used by Bolton and others located in his personal residence. Okay. At some point between when Bolton left government service and but in 2019 September and July 2021, a cyber actor believed to be associated with Iran hacked Bolton's personal email account and gained unauthorized access to the classified and national defense information in that account, which Bolton had previously emailed to 2 relatives while he was national security advisor. A representative for Bolton notified the U.S. government of the hack in or about July 2021, but did not tell the U.S. government that the account contained national defense information, including classified information. Okay, so again, the allegation here is that he was, it sounds to me from what we just read, that he was like basically doing these diary entries, that he was keeping notes, personal notes of his work, of what was going on at work, and those entries sometimes contained classified information, and he was emailing copies of those diary-style entries to 2 relatives, and he was keeping copies of them at home. Now, I don't know why he was doing that, if he was doing that. Was he doing it because he knew he was going to write a book? Did he just always keep his records? I don't know. But that's basically what they're saying, is he kept copies of this stuff at home, and he was emailing these entries to 2 relatives and using non-governmental emails accounts. Okay. And then they say classified information. They talk about classified information that was among this information that was stored by him and sent. And if we skip down here, I'm going to post a link to the indictment so you can read it. I'm sorry. Here is a link to the indictment. Mods, feel free to post the link to the indictment. I'll actually pin it. I'll pin a post on YouTube. But Twitch and our mods in Twitch and Facebook, if you'd like to, that'd be great. Feel free to. That'd be awesome. Feel free to post to pin the link to the indictment. So I am going to pin it on YouTube right now, so you guys can read it yourself. But let me just skip down to the bottom here, because the indictment is about 26 pages long. So what you can see is it says, charge counts 1 through 8 are transmission of national defense information. And it talks about different dates where he sent information via his personal non-governmental email account and or his personal non-governmental messaging app to 2 relatives. And they list the different times that he's charged for, 8 different occasions. Okay? They talk about some of they generally describe the documents here. I don't have this. Maybe they have specifics elsewhere, and I haven't read through the whole indictment. So that's charges 1 through 8. And then charges 9 through 18 are him willfully retaining documents at his house. And they list 10 different documents that they say he was keeping at his house, all with classified information. Okay? And then they say that he would forfeit he's subject to forfeiture derived of any property derived from proceeds traceable to the offenses. So I guess in theory, that would involve proceeds he might have met. If these documents helped him write his book, which the other story we suggested they might have. I mean, these might have been documents he used in the writing of his book. If they did, it sounds like the government is saying he would forfeit any kind of property that he had gotten as profit from the book. Because it says any property, real or personal, which constitutes or is derived for proceeds traceable to the offenses. I'm not a legal expert. That's what it looks like to me. Anyways, Kelly O'Hayes, who's the U.S. attorney in Maryland, signed this. This is not the district. This is not the Eastern District of Virginia, which brought the cases against Letitia James and James Comey. This is Maryland, U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. All right, so I'm going to try to get you some feedback on this right now, but at least we have a handle on what this is about. It's about, he's alleged to have kept diary entries or diary-like entries while he was the National Security Advisor from 2018 to 2019, and he's alleged to have entries which contain classified information, and he's alleged to have shared some of those entries with two relatives via email and messaging apps, and also he kept that at least some of that information at his house where he was not supposed to keep it. That's the basic idea of the indictment. Again, that's my amateurish, not very specific summary based on what we just went over. Okay. By the way, thank you to Mitchell Pilot, who says, "No one is above the law, right, chat?" All right, let me see if I have some feedback on this for you, some comments on this. I'm going to read your comments, but I want to see if there's any comment from his lawyer, if there's an official statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland. So give me a moment here. But this story just coming out while we were on the air, as I thought it might, as reporting suggested it might. Okay, let's see here. The attorney's office has, I actually have it. I have a press release from the Department of Justice. Look, the new press release, we got it. We got the new press release. Justice Department statements regarding indictment of former National Security Advisor John Bolton. If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison for each count of unlawful retention of NDI and a maximum of 10 years. So each of the 18 counts has a maximum of 10 years in prison. I don't know. I assume he has no criminal record. So maximum is one thing. What you actually might get realistically is another thing. Okay. Let me just, we're going to go over the statement, but I want to just post this real quick. Hang on, I'm going to post this so people can look at it. Give me one moment, and we will look at it ourselves. I'm just posting this so people can read it. So each of the 18 counts John Bolton faces carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Okay, here is the Justice Department statement. Let's see what they said. This is from the Justice Department. I just found it. A federal grand jury returned an indictment today charging former National Security Advisor John Bolton, 76 years old, of Bethesda, Maryland, with serious crimes relating to the mishandling of classified information. The indictment charges Bolton with 8 counts of transmission of national defense information and 10 counts of unlawful retention of national defense information. There is one tier of justice for all Americans, said Attorney General Pam Bondi. Anyone who abuses a position of power and jeopardizes our national security will be held accountable. No one is above the law, says Pam Bondi. Give me one moment here. FBI Director Kash Patel said the FBI's investigation revealed that John Bolton allegedly transmitted top secret information using personal online accounts and retained said documents in his house in direct violation of federal law. The case was based on meticulous work from dedicated career professionals at the FBI who followed the facts without fear or favor. Weaponization of justice will not be tolerated, says Kash Patel, and this FBI will stop at nothing to bring to justice anyone who threatens our national security. U.S. Attorney Kelly O'Hayes from the District of Maryland said, keeping Americans safe has always been and always will be the top priority for the U.S. Attorney's Office of the District of Maryland. If anyone endangers our national security, we're committed to holding them accountable. The FBI special agent in charge, William J. Del Bagno of the FBI Baltimore field office said, the FBI is committed to protecting classified information to keep Americans safe. Anyone entrusted with this knowledge takes an oath and has the duty to safeguard it. The charges alleged in this indictment demonstrate there will be consequences for those who violate this responsibility. The indictment alleges that Bolton illegally transmitted national defense information by using personal email and messaging application accounts to send sensitive documents classified as high as top secret. These documents revealed intelligence about future attacks, foreign adversaries, and foreign policy relations. The indictment also alleges that Bolton illegally retained NDI documents within his home. These documents included intelligence on an adversary's leaders, as well as information revealing sources and collections used to obtain statements on a foreign adversary. If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison for each of the 18 counts. A federal district court judge will determine any sentence before considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. So there you go. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. I haven't seen a new comment from his lawyer yet. Michael Garcia thinks he is blanked because he shared classified info on unsecured servers, networks, and apps. Tora Melkson thinks they are pot calling the kettle black statements from Bondi and Patel. Cybertruck says subpoena the AOL records. I'm guessing they might have his AOL emails or some of them. Lori Murphy says same crimes as Trump. Thomas Darwin says if Trump can do it, so can Bolton. Charlene Weege says, nobody is above the law. That statement has come back to haunt them all. So John Bolton has been indicted on 18 counts related to classified information. The Washington Post reports, let me read you a little bit of their report. They said John Bolton, former national security advisor, was indicted on 18 counts of transmitting and retaining national defense information following an investigation into his handling of classified and sensitive material during the first Trump administration. The indictment alleges that Bolton shared with two relatives hundreds of pages of diary-like updates detailing his work between 2018 and 2019. It also accuses Bolton of printing and storing many of those records at his home in Maryland, which FBI agents searched earlier this year. The indictment makes Bolton a veteran diplomat and security expert who has become a vocal critic of President Trump, the third frequent target of President Trump to face criminal prosecution in less than a month. Grand juries in Virginia have indicted former FBI Director Comey on charges of lying to Congress and New York Attorney General Letitia James in a bank fraud case in recent weeks. Unlike those cases which were pursued by Trump's hand-picked U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia over the objections of career staff members, the indictment against Bolton was signed by Kelly O'Hays, a respected veteran prosecutor appointed in February to lead the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland. Tom Sullivan, a career prosecutor who heads the office's National Security Division, presented the case to the grand jury and also signed the document. I think that's an important distinction between the Comey and the James cases and this case. Hang on a second here. Hang on a moment. What happened? What did I do here? 1 second. Give me one more second here. I was just about to post something. Again, I think that's an important distinction. The Post says, unlike though the Comey and Letitia James cases, which were pursued by Trump's hand-picked U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia over the objections of career staff members, the indictment against Bolton was signed by Kelly O'Hays, a respected veteran prosecutor appointed in February to lead the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland. Tom Sullivan, a career prosecutor who heads the office's National Security Division, presented the case to the grand jury and also signed the document. Bolton's attorney, Abby Lowell, has said his client has not violated the law. Also, the Washington Post says the investigation of Bolton is related to a Biden-era probe, and people familiar with it have generally described the evidence against Bolton as stronger than that backing the Comey and James indictments. Still, however, The Post reports that senior Justice Department leaders put pressure on the office in Maryland to charge Bolton quickly as Trump has ratcheted up the pressure on the Justice Department to prosecute his perceived foes, people familiar with the investigation said. In August, John Bolton's lawyer said that documents found with classification markings in his home stemmed from Bolton's time in the administration of George W. Bush and had been cleared for his use decades ago. The Washington Post also says that agents, so they searched his house in August. Agents believed they would find classified records in Bolton's possession, in part because of information they said they had learned about a foreign adversary hacking into Bolton's AOL email account years ago, according to an affidavit. A reminder, Trump in recent years Bolton, after being Trump's national security advisor in his first term, one of his national security advisors, was a prominent critic of President Trump. Now, something else I know some of you guys have mentioned regarding these charges against Bolton for classified information, improper handling. As the Post says, Trump himself was charged with illegally holding on to classified material under the same statute under which Bolton was being investigated. A federal judge in Florida later dismissed that case, citing issues with the legality of special counsel Jack Smith's appointment to prosecute the matter. President Biden was investigated as well for retaining classified documents at his home in Wilmington, Delaware, and his office in Washington. A special counsel appointed in that case determined no criminal charges were warranted. Okay, so again, a bunch of reading, but at the same time, I want to just get you background on all of this. But John Bolton, we should show you what Trump said about John Bolton. He was asked about John Bolton. He was asked about this during his appearance a short while ago at the White House. That's actually where I first heard about it. I think CNN's Kristen Holmes asked him about it like during the actual appearance. Let's see if I can find where that happened. It's towards the end. It's definitely towards the end. I want to show it to you. Hold on. I got to turn on the audio.
But somebody will go in. It's not going to be us. We won't have to. There are people
it's
very
not
close.
there.
Very near. We're not losing people. We're not. But I'm not. They're all very good, but
I'm skipping through.
In my opinion,
skipping through.
Situation.
Then it could not be negotiated.
Yeah, we'd be doing that. Would you like to?
Is issuing their agency full of the department.
I will not say that she was recommended by the teams.
Benefit plan.
Of this policy. What's your message?
I'm trying to find where he was asked about it.
And they got it down to the next results based on
treatment. We're going to these are
I think it was before then.
You're going to
with the bill which would put sanctions.
Of this policy. What's your ability? How would
be doing that?
Is issuing their intent today to open up the rulemaking process.
I can't find it.
Mr. President, John Bolton was just indicted. Do you think we can see?
Oh, I got it. I got it here.
Just because this race see the stuff, but I think
here it is. This is a short while ago. This is earlier when in his appearance in the Oval Office, President Trump was asked about the indictment. That's the first I heard about it, is when the CNN reporter mentioned it in the actual appearance. Okay, so this was, hold on, you'll see it in a second. There it is. And you'll hear what Trump had to say about it earlier. Here. Here is what he had to say about it. I'm playing this right now for you.
Have time to watch those results now.
John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person. Okay, anybody else?
What's the timeline for the IVF drug through the National Commissioner Priority Review Voucher?
Well, there you go. That was Trump's response. Austin Batman says that's the way it goes. Lori Murphy thinks he knew it was happening. Blue Lazaro says, wow, 18 counts. John Bolton is 76 years old. Take some more comments from you guys. Wesley Wyndham Price says that's the way the cookie crumbles. Jamie Rowland thought Trump knew about what was going on. Tub of Popcorn thinks this will be 0 jail time and probably thrown out on appeal. It's just to harass. That's what Tub of Popcorn says. Maurice says Bolton created this problem for himself. No one else did. Now, to be just to point out, we have not heard a comment from Bolton's lawyer after this indictment came out. And also, I mean, John Bolton and his legal team will have a chance to defend him in court. I don't know what the defense is going to be. I don't know enough about it to know. So I can't intelligently comment on the likelihood of a conviction or not, because I just don't know enough details about what his defense will be and what the chances of that defense succeeding are. I mean, look, John Bolton worked in sensitive positions for a long time. So you would think that John Bolton is aware of what classified information is and what you're allowed to do with it, right? So, I mean, either he was aware of it and just didn't care, or maybe he thought he wasn't doing what they said he was doing. I don't, you could imagine different possible defenses, so we'll have to see. Our viewer Pete Finn says, what about Hegseth putting national security stuff into Signal Chat? I guess no classified info crimes there, says Pete Finn. Bolton, isn't he a Republican? He has worked, I don't know, I can't say right now what he is, but he has worked in a number of Republican administrations. He worked in the Reagan administration, he worked in the Trump administration, he worked in the George W. Bush administration. Grant says thinks Trump's knew about the indictment, but he just didn't tweet it or truth it to the public this time. Well, the news broke when he was doing that public appearance. History Underfoot says Bolton is conservative. Detective Lopez says a big neocon. Now, I also have no idea. Oh, hey guys. According to MSNBC's Lisa Rubin and Ken Delanian, individuals 1 and 2 who he was sending this information to, basically he would, the allegation is that he would make these diary-like entries that contain classified information relating to his work, and he sent them to 2 relatives. Lisa Rubin and Ken Delanian report the 2 relatives were his wife and daughter. His wife and daughter. I wonder if he was just using their email as a backup or something. I don't know that he was sending it to them to read every word. But again, MSNBC is reporting that the 2 relatives are his, person 1 and person 2 are his wife and daughter. You know, just going back to the indictment, it says that from 2018 to 2019, Bolton sent diary-like entries to individuals 1 and 2 that contained information, some classified information. He wrote many of these diary-like entries by transcribing his handwritten notes from his day's activities into word processing documents. So it did sound like he was basically keeping his own records of what he was doing. Again, I don't know if that was because he knew he was going to write a book or what. I don't know why he was doing it. Maybe it's because he wanted to keep his own records so he could write a book later. I don't know. I did post a link on YouTube. I have linked the indictment in the chat at the top, so you can read it. Our mods have helpfully linked the indictment on Twitch. It is linked, and is it linked on Facebook too? It very well might be linked over there on Facebook. So you can. I encourage you, if you'd like, to download the indictment and read it through it all yourself. I'm not going to have time to read through all 26 pages of it word by word, but they get to some specifics about the kind of information that they say was transmitted. Oh, look. Hey, look. Hey, look. For a diary in the future. This is interesting. Okay. So, check this out. From the indictment, okay? This is about how he sent stuff to 2 relatives, which MSNBC says it was his wife and daughter. Bolton often referred to, he sent these 2 individuals notes on a regular basis. He often describing in detail his day-to-day activities as National Security Advisor. He did this while he was working as National Security Advisor, says the indictment. He often referred to these notes as his diary. Okay, so he sent them to individuals 1 and 2 relatives over his personal non-governmental email accounts or a messaging application. So he is sending his diary about his work diary to them, basically, including detailed information he got from meetings, blah, 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 intelligence briefings and so forth. He handwrote notes at work and then later rewrote his notes in a word processing document. The notes he sent described his daily activities as national security advisor. Basically, it's diary entries about his work. Some of the information was classified. The day before he officially began his duties as national security advisor, Individual 1, possibly his wife or daughter, created a group chat with Bolton and Individual 2 on a non-governmental messaging application. Individual 2 asked the group, "Why are we using this now? The encryption." I don't know if it was WhatsApp or something. I don't know, whatever it was. To which Individual 1 responded, "Yup, why not?" Bolton then responded, "For diary in the future." Okay. So they had a group chat. And he would, on July 15, 2018, when he's National Security Advisor, he sent the two relatives a message that said, Individual 2 sent Bolton and Individual 1 a message saying, "Did we get a diary today?" Individual 1 responded, "Don't think he can do it on this trip." Bolton later added, "Too much going on." So he was keeping this work diary and sending it to these two relatives. On July 23rd, 2018, he sent Individuals 1 and 2 a message that stated, "More stuff coming." A few minutes later, he sent them a 24-page document which described info he learned as National Security Advisor. Then he wrote to them a message that said, "None of which we talk about." In response, one of the relatives sent a message that said, "Shh," and Individual 2 then sent a message that stated, "The only interesting thing is what blank might have said from blank interpreter, which you didn't tell us." Anyways, so there are these messages from this group chat that are in the indictment of him and his two relatives, reportedly his wife and daughter. Okay, I'm just kind of skimming through here. And then a few months after, the day after his tenure as National Security Advisor ended, a literary agent representing him sent an email to a book publisher describing a book about his time as National Security Advisor that he intended to publish. In the email, the agent said, among other things, that Bolton's book would include Bolton's impressions of his time as National Security Advisor in a meticulously observed manner with direct quotes from all parties based on contemporaneous notes. Again, I don't know if he was keeping these notes specifically because he knew he was going to write a book after. I don't know. 2 months earlier, and while he was still National Security Advisor, the literary agent sent Bolton a letter saying it was with enthusiasm that the agent was again exploring a book with Bolton. Bolton earned more than $1 million by selling the rights to publish his book about his time as National Security Advisor. Okay. The indictment claims that when Bolton submitted a manuscript of his book in late 2019 to the National Security Council for the required pre-publication review process, the U.S. government told Bolton the initial manuscript contained significant amounts of highly classified info that needed to be removed. That's what the indictment claims. The book was published in June of 2020. None of the classified national defense information charged in counts 1 through 18 was published in the book. And then, as we mentioned, the indictment says in 2021, a representative of Bolton contacted the FBI to alert them that an entity believed by Bolton's representatives to be Iran had obtained unauthorized access to one of Bolton's personal email accounts. Oh, also, in July of 2021, Bolton's representative emailed the FBI again to report that Bolton and his representative had received the following email on around July 25th of 2021, which the representative believed was associated with the hack of Bolton's email account. And the email said, "I do not think you would be interested in the FBI being aware of the leaked content of John's email, some of which have been attached, especially after the recent acquittal. This could be the biggest scandal since Hillary's emails were leaked, but this time on the GOP side, contact me before it's too late." Bolton's representative told the FBI Bolton would be deleting the contents of his personal email account that had been hacked. Okay, then in August of that year, Bolton received another email, apparently related to the hack of his personal account, which said, "Okay, John, as you want apparently, we'll disseminate the expurgated sections of your book by reference to your leaked email." So I don't know if someone was trying to extort him or something, because he had this sensitive information in his email, that the account that was hacked. All right. Anyways. All right. I'm going to post a link to this, but the basic idea, again, that I get from reading this, indictment, the basic idea in the indictment is that while he was working as National Security Advisor for Trump, he took these detailed notes. He considered them like diary entries, and then he created a group chat. He shared them regularly with two relatives, both through email and a group chat, if I'm remembering what I read right, using a messaging app. And he also kept copies of these entries at his house. And these diary entries contained classified information that was not legally supposed to be shared with these relatives or kept at his house. That's the basic idea of the indictment. So he is charged with both the retention of national defense information, which is keeping material at his house that is not supposed to be there, and transmission of national defense information, which involves him sending these diary entries to the two relatives. To repeat, he did end up writing a book that was marketed, that his agent was shopping soon after his tenure as National Security Advisor. According to the indictment, the agent was shopping this book as based on notes he had taken. So, as I said, I do not know why he was sending the notes to the two relatives and keeping the notes at his house. Seems like possibly it's because he knew he was going to write a book. Maybe there were a bunch of reasons, and the book was one of them. I don't know. I can't speak for him. And also, I don't know what his defense is going to be, but in fairness, we have not heard his side of the story after this indictment has come out. But I will, again, post a link in the chat, and I have pinned it, and you can actually, if you want to know more, you literally have the indictment, the link to the indictment that I am reading, and you can read all the details there. So So if you want to get more details, if you want to look at the stuff I've been going over here, kind of skimming through, doing my best to skim through, you can just read the whole thing. But I was just trying to give you a basic idea of what it is. I apologize for any mistakes I might have made. I was doing the best I can to get you the general idea. Wall Street thinks probably was seeking their opinion on passages to include in the book. Who knows? Possible. Eek says another one down. Austin Batman thinks he stupidly criticized Trump in the book. Now, one of our viewers said, why did his administration fail to stop? What is this? Did somebody ask? I might have misinterpreted the question. But the Trump administration was, I believe, trying to prevent this book from being released during Trump's first term. But I don't have the details or remember the details of what I've read about that. But I believe that I think that in the Trump first administration they tried to prevent the book from coming out. Let me just see if I can find an answer to that. I believe there was I looked it up on Gemini AI, which said there was a lawsuit to prevent publication of the book's release. And that the lawsuit alleged Bolton had failed to complete the proper security clearance process. The Biden administration eventually dropped the civil lawsuit in the criminal probe. So was the criminal probe taken up again during this Trump administration? I can't be sure if that was the timing. Craig said the book sold nearly 1 million copies. Hold on a second here. The Room Where It Happened, Wikipedia page. There's the book right here. The Trump administration sought to block release of the book, contending Bolton had reached non-disclosure agreements he signed as condition of his employment, and that the book endangered national security. A judge denied the request. The book was released on June 23, 2020. Later that summer, the Justice Department opened a criminal investigation into whether the book revealed classified information. Does it say how much it sold? Oops. You know what? I didn't drink enough water this stream. That's the problem. I gotta get a little more water. And I'll take a few more comments from you guys. How many copies did The Room Where It Happened by Bolton sell? Oh, on Wikipedia it says sold over 780,000 in the first week, right? Oh yes, the Wall Street Journal had a story about the book, and it said that the memoir sold over 780,000 copies in all formats in the first week. That's from an article in July 2020. Remember, the indictment says that it's a notice of forfeiture, and it said the grand jury found that Bolton would have to forfeit any property which constitutes or derived from proceeds traceable to the offenses. So I'm assuming that the government may argue that the documents in question helped him to write his book, and that they might ask him to give up all the money he made from the book. JM says he will lose his home. I don't know how much money that is, but it's not insignificant. What was the advance on the book? NPR had an article in 2020 saying he reportedly received a $2 million advance for his book. And I don't know if he had royalties on the copies sold. So I have no idea what the forfeiture ask would be. But it would certainly seem possible that he took in millions of dollars from the book that could, in theory, be subject to forfeiture. Confidence in God says not a little amount. But, as you know, I'm not a legal expert, so I can't tell you the chance of that forfeiture happening. I don't know the chances that he will actually be convicted of any of these charges. Michael says if they make a precedent on memoirs, it will open up presidential memoirs and military memoirs, lots of Republicans. Well, again, I don't know people who do memoirs. Have they done similar things with classified information that Bolton allegedly did in this book? Again, allegedly. Cybertruck thinks forfeiture plus the defense cost would probably ruin him. I don't know. I can't speak to his personal wealth situation. That I do not know. But yeah, I could certainly imagine it being enormously expensive to defend himself. Oh, TMZ. Oh, that's not good. So, TMZ reports, a friend of mine just messaged me about this. KISS guitarist Ace Frehley is on life support with a brain bleed. That's not good. Thoughts with his family and best wishes to Ace Frehley, if that's indeed true. Do you know, as someone who, growing up, I listened to I was a KISS fan, and I don't even remember how to pronounce, is it Frehley or Frehley? And I apologize for that. Frehley. It is Frehley, okay. A very prominent guitarist for the band, the guitarist for the band KISS, basically, in their era of biggest popularity. And he is 74 years old. And TMZ says that they say the prognosis is not good. And he had he suffered a brain bleed when he took a fall in his studio a couple weeks ago. Ugh. And TMZ says his family's considering turning off life support. Well, that's not good. anyways, it's a bit off topic, but I wanted to mention that. All right, look, well, what I'm going to do is this. So, hold on a second here. Our viewer Michael Lauzon says, didn't Trump always say he will always pick the great ones, including Bolton? He did. I mean, he did choose Bolton for his national security advisor, but they are not on good terms right now. You heard Trump today say he thought he was a bad guy. Karen Moore, our viewer, says, Pete Hegseth shared national security information with his family. Does this mean he should be indicted too, or is it just people Trump wants revenge against? That's what Karen Moore said. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am still in Madrid. We have talked we covered a bunch of different stuff today, but I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream now. If you want to read more about the John Bolton indictment, I have linked the indictment itself in the chat, and you can read in detail about it if you'd like. And we'll have to see. I don't know when the court date's going to be, when the trial's going to be. So we'll have to see what happens with that in the James Comey case, in the Letitia James case. But for now, I'm going to start wrapping up this coverage. If you missed it, we brought you coverage of President Trump's announcement about IVF and drug pricing earlier, which I have to do some more research on that to figure out exactly what was announced. But I'm not going to do that right now. So, but I appreciate you guys, and we've talked about President Trump saying he was going to meet with Putin. We talked about that. So we've been talking about a bunch of different things today, but I'm going to start wrapping up this stream. I really appreciate you being here and joining us. If later tonight there's some huge news, I can come back on and cover it. So I would suggest, I really need some water too. Do I have a little bit left in here? I do. Hopefully that will get me through. I'm sorry I didn't drink more during the stream. But if there's big news later, I can come back on the air and cover it. I would suggest you subscribe, follow the channel Agenda Free TV if you like this kind of coverage. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. And turn on the notifications. I can't tell you in advance when big news is going to happen, usually. So, excuse me, but we have a notification system. You can sign up and get sent a notification whenever we go live so you don't miss a stream where we cover breaking news. Our notification system is on Discord, and it's free, and the mods can post a link to sign up to it. And you can find the link to the notifications on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this video. So make sure you sign up to the notifications. You know what I'm going to do right now for 7 seconds? For 7 seconds. I have to get a little, even though we're just finishing up, I got to get a little more water. So give me about 15 seconds for those who are still around. And I'll leave this on the screen for 15 seconds. One moment. Okay, I'm back. All right. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for messaging me your comments and letting me read them on the air and sending me news updates that you guys heard about. Very much appreciated. And thanks so much to our moderators who have been here. Thanks, moderators. You guys are awesome. They are the reason why we can even have chat rooms, our awesome moderators. Ruth Krafasi, Janet B. over there on YouTube, and all of our other YouTube moderators. Huge thanks for being there. Roberts May Queen as well on Twitch. LB Prairie Dawn, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev. Big thanks, and all of our other Twitch mods. Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson, Shannon Davis Hughes on Facebook. Big thanks. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thanks to all of our moderators. Big thanks. And, thanks Kristen McConnell Gates for the Facebook stars. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who donated. That's super nice of you guys. That is what allows this channel to be on the air, is your support. I really appreciate it. If you ever want to donate, you go to agendafree.tv. Agendafree.tv, but huge thanks. I think I owe a couple more thanks to people. I Am Charlie, thank you. I Am Charlie thinks that Bolton is cooked. Mama 457 Rose, thanks for your support. Sorry for the delay. S2K Pirate. My stream is out of frame. Oh, there might have been some kind of thing going on with that. Yeah, so while I'm here in, I think I see what you're saying. Anyways, while I am in Madrid, there might be some technical issues because I'm not doing it on my normal setup. So I'm sorry if things got out of frame at some point. I apologize. So things happen when I'm traveling and trying to do this. But thanks for letting me know. It's S2K Pirate. Also, thanks for your support. Try the best I can when we're out. When I'm traveling. I got that fire. Thanks for subscribing on Twitch. CC143, thanks for the bits. Thanks Dude Control for subscribing on Twitch. And Malice Bixie, thank you. Hey, another good way to find out when we're live is to follow us on X at AgendaFreeTV. I always post here when I go live, and I post updates about the channel there. So if you're on X, follow us at AgendaFreeTV. And what was I going to mention? We do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air, the Discord chat. It's free. A lot of our viewers like doing the Discord chat. Check it out. It's the same link as the notifications link, the link to the free notifications. Huge thanks to our Discord mods for all you do. Thank you, Discord mods. Also want to mention for those watching on YouTube, I would suggest if you're on YouTube, turn on the YouTube notifications, another good way to find out when we're live. But it's a little tricky to do that. If you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, what you need to do is you need to subscribe to the channel, then click the bell, and then choose all notifications. If you are already subscribed, make sure you have clicked the bell and chosen all notifications. Okay. Thank you, Lucchini AP, for your support, who says Ace Frehley should get a Medal of Freedom. Again, TMZ reporting that he is in very poor health condition, on life support with a brain bleed. So, again, thoughts with his family and with him, Ace Frehley. That's not good news. Just heard that toward the end of the stream. I do want to thank, again, if there's big news later, we can do a lot. We can do another stream later on, and certainly in the coming days have more news coverage from you, I'm sure. I want to thank our Facebook subscribers who support the channel by subscribing over there, like Chuck Mosca, Sharon Klassen-Goslin, Jennifer Ellers, and Robert Rial II, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, and all of our other Facebook subscribers, Kristen McConnell Gates and others. Thank you for subscribing over there and supporting the channel. On Twitch, thanks so much to our subscribers there, like Wall Street and Shaggy and Relila and CC and Matthew Kohai 3. Tuck Fexus, thank you. Guy from the 207, CC143, thank you for subscribing. Artful Nothing. Sorry if I repeat any of these. Sometimes it happens. Makawaka, thank you. And all of our other Twitch subscribers, thanks so much. Shraki, thank you. And our YouTube members, huge thanks to our YouTube members. Much appreciated. People like CAC813, JKC and Our Confidence in God, Patricia Grace, Eric Johnson, Ken Lance, Evelyn in Maine, Barry, Ellie Lassetti, Pat W., UV Lightning, J.K. Sinar, Val Cargo, Zoe Condi, Beast Mom, Barry, Red Girl. Did I say CAC already? CAC 813, thank you. Songbird, thanks for being a member. Bearded Genius, Phoenix Rising, Wicked Code, Beast Mom, and all of our other YouTube members and all of our other viewers. Thanks to our YouTube member GDHHRSGHR, who thinks the Bolton indictment is vindictive prosecution. Thanks, Music Muse, for being a member. All right, guys, I am wrapping this up. Thank you, Miss Jen, for watching. Thanks, Lisa Clapper, our new member. I am glad that we were able to get you the John Bolton news right away because we had heard, it had been reported this might happen today. So we really were able, we didn't even have to get on the air because we were already on the air when it happened. So I'm glad we were able to bring you that update right away. All right, guys, that is it for now. Our viewer Thomas Darwin says, court will decide. Thank you, Thomas. I will give you the last word on the John Bolton indictment for now. That is it for now. Thank you for watching our live coverage and our live news roundup stream, talking about a bunch of different topics. We will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.